care products, and so much more. And if for some reason they don't carry the product you need, they'll custom order it at no extra charge. Mary and her experienced team are there to assist you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or call them 315-724-6767.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is
online at H&HMedicalNY.com. Home and hospital medical supplies. We make life easier.
And paid for by Case Legal Media. Attention Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those on the Marine Corps base Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. Until now, North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve. But passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file a lawsuit seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-348-9161. Don't wait. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-348-9161. That's 800-348-9161. Again, 800-348-9161.
It's time to start the program. It's time to earn our pay. It's time to meet the people on the Keeler Show today. It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started.
It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
We have a really busy program this morning. Ton of stuff to get to. And I want to start, if we could, with this situation at the Utica Zoo where a staff member was bitten by a lion. Wow. So I know, Manaski, you were speaking with Andrea, the executive director, last night. From what we know at this point, a staff member was bitten. I believe the zoo will be closed today, something that's a rarity, by the way.
Yes, it will be closed today.
And the staff member is okay, was released from the hospital. They will not be doing anything to the lion. Sometimes when these things happen, you hear stories where we've had to kill the lion.
Yes. They will not be doing that.
What else do we know? I know, and ironically, coincidentally, she was actually going to be on the air this morning and has asked to not come on today. She'll come on tomorrow because she wants to really feel she has to focus on the employees over there.
Yes. So she, Andrea Heath, of course, executive director of the Utica Zoo. I had a chance to speak to her last night. As you pointed out, the zoo will be closed today. She said the reason is that she wanted the employees to be able to go about and kind of do their job as they would without people approaching and asking, did you see the lion? What happened? Is everybody, just to give them a day to kind of get back into a normal routine, because obviously it's a very scary situation anytime something like that happens. You covered really all the things that Andrea and I talked about, but she also said I don't know if you'd call it a keeper, whatever, the employee. I'll just say that
there is I think it's a position. It's called lion keeper.
the particular individual who was injured and I guess attacked, before she sought help, and Andrea wanted to specify this, that this person was very brave, and that before she sought help or ran, for cover, made sure that all the gates and the enclosure was secured and closed, so that for some reason, if someone came to help or the lion got upset, it couldn't get its way out and attack somebody else.
That's big.
That is, I thought that was a big deal. And she also said she wanted, before, she sat down and, if people are heading to work.
Are you saying the keeper was a female?
I have to double check that.
Okay, because I think you might have used a gender.
I might have thrown a she. Yeah, I might have thrown a she in there.
All right. Do you know where the person was bitten? Was it on the arm? Was it do we know?
I just know that they were taken to the hospital for treatment and had already been released by the time I spoke with her.
All right. Wow. So interesting. And you know the story of what were the two guys there in Vegas that did the magic show?
Oh, why can't I remember this?
Let's just call them Siskel and Ebert. I know it isn't them, but you know who I mean. The one they grew up with those lions, or the lions grew up with them, I should say, and you'll come up with their name.
Siegfried and Roy.
And the lions grew up as little cubs, and these are always going to be animals, and it actually turned on one of them, and you recall that story about, I don't know, it's probably been 15 years since that happened.
And was he killed or just seriously injured?
He may have passed since, but he was seriously injured. Did you see there was a story, too, recently about by the way, Devin is sitting in for Davey today. Have you ever been a lion handler?
I've not.
Okay.
Have you ever been to the Utica Zoo?
I have been to the
Utica
Zoo.
All right. Well, then you might be someone we'll ask a question of coming up. You have a little experience. Did you see the story of this happened out west, where the grizzly bear attacked the man, and I believe it was a grizzly bear, attacked the man and bit off his jaw.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And the guy was just released from the hospital. See, oftentimes I'll collect these stories in my head, and I just brush through the surface of it, right on the surface of the story.
Yeah.
And then my next comment is, you go Google it. I don't want to tell any more about the story. Actually, I don't know anymore. But that story, they had to reconstruct this man's jaw. And you can only imagine what that must have been like. And the fact that he survived that is amazing.
That is incredible. So, man who lost jaw in Utah bear attack jokes.
What did I say? It happened, Devin. It happened.
It did.
He says he is ready for round 2. So I don't want to confuse these. Do you want me to give you the statement from the zoo
what
first?
What is round 2 on this guy?
Well, I think he's saying, that was the first round. The bear got the better of him.
Okay, he's ready for round 2.
He's not quitting his job.
Well, he now has a jaw, and it's been reconstructed by and basically created by medical officials. Now, the injury that happened at the Utica Zoo, far less serious, right? The person was treated and released.
Yes, just to put a bow on this, the bear victim in Utah, his name was Rudy Norlander, and they started a GoFundMe for him, $70,000, and he's up to $67,000.
Wow.
My father's the bravest and strongest man I know. Rudy's the owner and operator of Alpine Adventures in Big Sky, and he was contacted by hunters to rent out some of his ATVs, yada, yada. Okay, so back to this local situation on the Utica Zoo.
They're doing a documentary on him already. It's called Jaws 4.
This is the situation.
Jaw 4? Would it be Jaw 4?
It would be Jaw 4.
Sorry.
This afternoon around 4 p.m., again, this is the situation at the Utica Zoo. A Utica zookeeper came in contact with one of the male African lions during a routine feeding and closing procedure. The keeper suffered non-life-threatening injuries, was treated, and is expected to be released from the hospital this evening. Now, this was yesterday. At no time was the public or any other staff at risk, and the lions did not at any time have access outside of their enclosure. Utica Zoo staff have been in contact with its accrediting body, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, informing them of the incident. It's interesting because earlier this week, the reason I had reached out to the zoo and to Andrea was because they were seeking their either reaccreditation or a new accreditation from this particular organization. She says, quote, "There will be no punitive action against our lions. An incident occurred which is being reviewed. We will be learned from, and we are all grateful our staff and animals are okay. Utica Zoo's lions will remain off exhibit while the zoo conducts a thorough review of its procedures." And again, it doesn't say it here, but I did talk to Andrea last night. The Utica Zoo will be closed today, and I believe will reopen tomorrow.
All right. Well, listen, you don't think about these animals being animals. These are still, some of these are very dangerous animals, and an animal is an animal. I got to tell you something. It's why I always worry. I become very uncomfortable when I see a parent, and I don't want to be, you do this, that's fine. It's not my kid. But when a parent lets their little toddler go up to a dog and grab the dog by the head and start kind of kissing the dog a little bit, or hugging the dog, and the dog doesn't want to be hugged. And the only way the dog will know how to get away is to
attack and then run.
To bite. Yeah. So I do worry about it makes me uncomfortable when I see people do that. These are still, as wonderful as dogs are, they're still animals, and they have one way to stop something from happening.
Yeah, it's funny because I've had this concern before, and my son was around for a long time a pit bull, and as it turned out in hindsight, the dog was very sensitive and delicate, and never did anything aggressive in any way toward my son. And in fact, if I was playing with him, the dog would be like throwing her nose in between us, like, "You better be careful, you better be careful." And but I think it is a real concern. You're right; they're still animals. I do think dogs, and I know you weren't making a direct comparison, dogs and lions, right?
Although we once had a dog that was pretty tough. I might have compared him to a lion.
I mean, you do see these stories where it's like, toddler face mauled by,
a kid steps on a dog, these things could happen. So anyway, it's just something that unfortunately came to my mind. So we'll talk with Andrea tomorrow. She will be on tomorrow.
Yes.
And she's really trying to spend time with employees today.
And I think she didn't want, I know they sent out a statement, but I think while her employees were showing up to work and working, she didn't want her voice to be on the radio talking about what happened before she had a chance to, sit down and talk with them.
Fair enough. And okay, so the House, the Speaker of the House issue, Jim Jordan is lacking the votes, and there'll be another round expected as he's trying to coerce Republican members. The number I believe is 4, right? That they cannot if. 4 or 5 members. I've seen both numbers.
Yeah.
But I believe it's 4 members were to vote for someone else. Jordan will not be elected unless some lone Democrat out there came to the Republicans' rescue, which don't expect that to happen. Anyway, that vote went down. Brandon Williams, by the way, voted for Jim Jordan. And actually, Brian Kilmeade, while on TV yesterday, must have been after his radio show, was caught on a live mic when one of the Republican members voted for McCarthy and not for Jim Jordan. I think I'm looking for the exact quote, but I think Kilmeade was like, basically, what an idiot. So that's been a big story in the liberal circle this morning. I saw a number of headlines where Kilmeade was caught while on mic, not knowing that his mic was live. Anyway, I think the worst thing is personally, I just think that the ousting of McCarthy was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Unless
the deal. Can I say this though? The deal McCarthy agreed to take the position, I think, was the mistake. It set this up. This was going to happen at any point.
He shouldn't have been Speaker in the first place. Do you remember how long this went on? The battle went on, and then negotiating, and everybody's like, he's done. There's no way. And then all of a sudden, a deal was cut, and he somehow got through. And then, of course, the changing of the rules where only one member could stand up for the ousting of the speaker. That completely has caused this situation to occur. Anyway, it is what it is. And now this is just this is a problem. And, I've heard people talk about it as being a problem and others saying it's not such a big deal. It's a big deal. And the fact that this is still going on, at the very least, does not show Republican unity, which is certainly needed with next year being a presidential election year and a busy election year in Congress. So take it for what it is. We learned yesterday that coming up in January, Syracuse University will have a game at the JMA Wireless Dome, and they will be honoring blank. Did you see this, Arnie?
Is it Jimmy B?
They'll be honoring Jim Boeheim, as they should. It'll be Coach Jim Boeheim Day, February 24th, when Syracuse hosts Notre Dame. So that'll be a big house at the Dome. The AD Wild Hack says Coach Boeheim is an iconic figure in Central New York, and to all Orange fans and alumni around the world, even though I hate him, we probably should do something special for him. That's really not what he said.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
But I think those two were at odds at the end, right?
What, the university in
Well,
Boeheim?
yeah, and including the AD. His remarkable career and commitment to Syracuse University and our community will never be replicated. February 24th will provide our fans the opportunity to celebrate and thank Coach Boeheim. He led Syracuse to 1,016 career wins. Is that the actual number, even though the NCAA took some away?
I have to double-check that. I do think he eclipsed 1,000 a second time.
Yeah. So you have to wonder about these things, and I think you can look at Boeheim and look at your own career, your own whatever it is that you do, and you wonder, does there come that moment where you've stayed just a little bit too long? And I wonder if that was the case for Boeheim. The reality is, if Boeheim came out winning with two really competitive winning seasons, and maybe went deep into the NCAA tournament, which they ultimately did, whichever year that was, just before COVID, I think. But the last couple of years were really rough.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like Syracuse jumping out to a 5-0 start and then losing all of their games in football. Yeah. Well, the only thing anybody remembers is the 5 or 6 straight losses. They don't remember the fact that they were 5-0, but if you could have peppered that through the season, it wouldn't have been as bad. Right now, a lot of people are predicting Syracuse football should finish very well. In fact, in terms of bowl games, experts are saying they may have the easiest schedule in the NCAA in football going forward, starting this weekend. Anyway, I wonder if Boeheim, had he had a great season in the end, he probably wouldn't have been retiring. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So it's just a shame that it oftentimes ends this way with someone staying too long. You remember Dick Clark, not for all of his accomplishments, but you remember him struggling to get through the countdown on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because I think it's your passion for so long. It's very hard to
give
say
it
goodbye.
Up. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a shame, and I'll be honest with you. I'm actually really disappointed with the way Boeheim came out at the end there, and I think we were both upset. We were kind of shocked that the university handled him this way, and then for him to return 2 days later and go, "Oh, now everything's fine."
We worked, not even we worked everything out. It's just, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Basically, like we were all. We imagined everything that we witnessed there.
It's like we were a fan. I've been a fan of that team basically my whole life, and he's the only coach I've ever known. The reason I was upset, many other Syracuse fans, is because of what you said. We didn't invent this. You said
correct. And I'm the same way. I mean, Boeheim was there for so long. You only knew Boeheim as the coach of Syracuse basketball. Tom Brady. Can I stick with a little sports here? I think this is interesting.
Yeah, and just one more. I guess he had over 1,116 was his total, but then you have the NCAA violations
that they took away.
So he
it was
ended
even
up
higher than that.
No, that includes. So
Okay,
he finished with 1,015.
Well,
after the violation,
whatever. That was just
101
stupid.
wins they took. 101.
Tom Brady on his podcast on Monday says I find this I am almost insulted by this statement. And I'll explain to you why in a second. Tom Brady said in his podcast Monday that he believes too many flags are being thrown in the NFL. The game is becoming less physical, and in fact, criticized the end of the Buffalo Bills-Giants game the other day. And I got to tell you, as a Bills fan, I will gladly admit I think the play at the end of the game that was pass interference was called to put the ball on the 1-yard line. I don't know that was pass interference. And the final play of the game, I think that was pass interference against the Bills on the very final play of the game. Anyway, he criticized that as well. Now, I won't play the clip, and then let's just talk about Tom Brady for a moment and his storied, very safe career as a New England Patriot.
All I know is the defender's got every right to push back on DK, but he doesn't do it. And they throw a flag. I'm like, I don't understand what the flag is. This is football. This isn't touch football. This is real football. And I think the physicality, which people really enjoy, I certainly enjoy. I love that physical element of the sport. I don't think we should ever lose that. There's so many people that want it less and less physical. It's more like flag football, which is going to be in the Olympics in 2028. Which maybe football goes to flag football over a period of time. And I don't think fans will like that much. Then everyone should stop bitching about unnecessary roughness calls.
So this comes from the guy who was absolutely protected, not only by his line, but by the referees. You couldn't get near Tom Brady. If you breathed on Tom Brady, a flag was thrown at you.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
I do.
And for him to say that.
And if he took a hard hit, he would look at the ref like, what, you're not going to throw a flag?
Yeah. And what would the ref do?
Throw a flag.
It's almost like you asked for it, I'm going to give it to you. And so that to be coming from Tom Brady just blows my mind.
I completely agree. It is quite ridiculous.
Mike this morning.
But he's right in his point.
I think he's right. I do not disagree. However, he should have been saying that when he was on the field.
And I also think, and I was happy to see it, again, in the broadcast on whatever night, Sunday night, when they questioned, there was the illegal offensive lineman downfield, illegal man downfield on a completed pass for the Giants. That shouldn't have been a penalty.
Yep.
And then the roughing the passer on Josh Allen, that shouldn't have been a penalty. The guy in the booth, who was a veteran NFL, I can't think of his name, but I know his face. He was a veteran NFL referee for many, many years. Said, guys, that's not a penalty on both of those plays. So
I was trying to I talked to my son about this on Monday, and it got heated. My son is a Giants fan.
Oh yeah,
my oldest son, and it got a little bit heated. And I'm trying to say to you what I was just trying to go over what the ref said is that when on that last call, once the ball leaves and enters the air on a pass, a tug becomes a different issue.
Yeah.
So if the ball is still in the quarterback's hand and you're tugging on the jersey, that's a no-brainer. That is a call.
Yeah.
But on once it's in the air, a tug of the jersey, it's up to the ref to determine, did that tug impede the receiver's chances of catching the ball? And that referee must have felt the answer to that was no, or it's the last play of the game. I ain't calling this again. I don't know what he was thinking, but there was a point where it looked like in slow motion that he was actually impeding, the defender was impeding the receiver's arm as well. That's clearly a pass interference. But I couldn't get that far because my son was like, yeah, like, yes, I get it. I agree. It was pass interference. But I also see where the referee may have blown the call, and it wasn't something that was nefarious.
It's a very difficult thing, as you pointed out, you're watching the playback in slow motion, right?
Slow motion, it looked completely different.
So it's just a very difficult thing to do. Like I said, that's why personally, unless it's obvious, the pass interference calls, and I know it was the end of the game, but Giants fans, can we be honest here? What are we playing for? We're better off losing games. We'll get a better draft pick. But, That's why those other calls, which I think were clear and obvious, there was never a hit to Allen's head. It wasn't a late hit. The whole thing with the lineman downfield, there's a footnote in the rule that says you're allowed to do that.
Even that one call where it was roughing the passer, I give the referee the benefit of the doubt there, because when you saw it in real time, it totally looked like it was helmet to helmet.
Okay.
But when you went back and you watched it in slow motion, you clearly could tell. So
yeah.
I'm trying to, and believe me, during the Jacksonville game, the Bills fans were the ones like, are you kidding me? Another penalty? The Bills had more penalties in that game than they've had in any game all season long, and a lot of them were tic-tac type penalties. Like, why are you even calling that? And it did change certainly the flow of the game, I felt anyway. Nonetheless, it is what it is. A couple of comments here, and then we have Mayor Jackie Izzo in Rome coming up as they have a budget vote happening. So I don't think we're talking campaign. I think we're talking budget. We'll speak with her coming up in a second. Mike, oh, my God, Brady would ask for a foul against the defense if a defensive player looked at him. And I think that's kind of true. Another one, Jimmy B's career is like watching a TV series. At first, you're really drawn into it, and then by the end, you're thinking to yourself, this show has gone too far and too long. It always seems like they end up seeming like the soap opera with too much drama. And that's kind of what happened with that. Finally, somebody on a different note, this is Mike, on a different note, have you seen the new streaming box that Spectrum is rolling out? It's called Zumo. Yeah. They are, so for a certain point, for quite some time, Spectrum has been telling people to get an Apple TV. Additionally, you could actually rent, or with an option to buy. Basically, you were buying it on time from Spectrum. You could pay in your bill, and you'd get an Apple TV, and it would charge you, I don't know, $10 a month until it was paid off, and then you'd have your Apple TV, which is how they would stream. Because if you remember, Spectrum was in a battle for a while with Roku. Mm-hmm. So now they're coming out with their new streaming box, and they're getting rid of all the old boxes. I don't know if that's going to mean you're going to have to turn in your boxes. I'm going to dig a little deeper on this. But at the very least, they are introducing a new box, and they're going to be going away from the cable connection that you have with the coax cable into the box and into your TV. This is you are going to be moving to a streaming option only with Spectrum.
Yeah, it's
now,
sign of the times.
I got to tell you, we've been having problems with our internet where one minute it's working well, the next minute it's not, and it's driving me nuts trying to figure it out. So you start changing settings around. Now you've changed so many settings, you're like, I don't remember where the settings were. Can I go back? I mean, it's very, very frustrating because what happens is you're trying to watch a program and it starts to spin. And that would not happen with the box. But that is going to be our new world. And I will say that a lot of people that are getting new service right now are getting fiber. Fiber optics is very, very fast. It is not like cable. With cable, if you've got 30 people in your neighborhood on TV, it's going to slow down your speed of your internet. Fiber optics, it's not going to do that. And you'll have very, very fast internet and service if you have fiber. And I know that new service that Spectrum is putting in is fiber, but chances are at your home you don't have fiber.
Correct.
Or it's copper that's leading into your house, and then, you may have fiber after that. I don't know. I guess maybe that's not even possible. Either way, Spectrum is getting rid of the boxes.
I just wonder if at some point, I don't know, in 5 years, 10 years, they go, just like the house phone. They're like, you can have the streaming box, or for an additional $10.99 a month, you can have the old school cable line plugged into a box and watch live television.
There is a service that I'm using right now. I forget the service that it is, but they just came out with a whole new platform. And I went to use it yesterday, and everything's all over the place. I believe that's done to just screw with your head. It's going to be easier for you, but it won't be for the first 6 months. It's going to be hell. But there's a little button at the bottom that says, go back to the legacy version. And I clicked on the legacy version, and another window popped up, and it said, Please tell us why you clicked on the legacy version. Do you, A, not like the new version?
Oh, it's multiple choice.
Yes. Do you, B, not have time to, B,
Yeah.
I do not have time to sit here and learn this new thing. I'm in the middle of something right now. I don't have time for it. And that's part of the problem. And that's what, Spectrum is going to do to us. Everything is going to be brand new, and it's going to be hard to get used to.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be great like the old days, like the old cable. I think this, ultimately, it might be better, but right now it's not.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to my mother about her Spectrum bill, and she's got, I guess at one point, I think it was called the triple play.
Yes.
And because she's still got the landline phone, but man, if you knew what she was still paying for Spectrum, it's like a mortgage payment. I'm clearly exaggerating.
If you're not paying, there's a very good chance you're paying $170 to $300 a month for your cable if you're getting all the bells and whistles.
I'm like, and I say to her, "Ma, what do you watch?" When my son comes over, there's a couple of Nickelodeon cartoony type thing. He's big into SpongeBob right now. I'm like, you watch Antiques Roadshow and the Golden Girls.
That's the problem.
Why are you paying this money?
You're spending all of this money on just a few programs that most people end up watching. And can I throw one more at you here this morning? There's a new show on TV, and I cannot remember. David Spade is the host of it.
Okay.
And it's Snake Oil is the name of it.
Yeah.
It's a new reality type game show. And
okay.
I got to say, Devin, are you in there? Grab that line. I got to say that it is a very cool show. For the second night in a row, we've watched an episode.
It's a game show?
On Hulu. We've watched it on Hulu. So here is we ought to do one of these in studio.
Okay.
It's kind of like a modern day salesman version of To Tell the Truth. Do you remember what To Tell the Truth was? You'd get three people up there. Only one was really a lion tamer, but they were all telling you they were a lion tamer.
Gotcha.
So, and at the end, you would guess, the contestants would guess who the real lion tamer was, and then the host would say, "Will the real lion tamer please stand up?" And then the three people would look like they're going to stand up, sit back down, look like it again, sit back down, and boom, finally, the one in the middle or wherever would stand up, and he'd be the real lion tamer.
Okay.
The other two one was a comic, the other one was I don't know, an accountant or something.
Okay.
But only one lion tamer. This is almost like Shark Tank meets To Tell the Truth.
Okay.
So you are an investor, and they give you $50,000 to invest with. And and you have two pairs of products, and the inventor or the maker or whatever of owner of the product. Like last night, there was somebody who owned an exercise bike that actually, when you were pedaling it, it didn't go smoothly. The seat went up and down, and it moved as if you were riding a horse. It's a great exercise, right? And you're going back and forth. This is your exercise bike. Is it real? Versus another product that was another way out there, and now one of these products is real. You have to invest in the real product. If you invest in the fake product, snake oil, then you lose the money you invested. It's kind of a cool show.
Oh, it is kind of a cool show.
To Tell the Truth meets Shark Tank.
Shark Tank,
So if you want to check that out, I think it's on Fox, or we've been watching uninterrupted episodes on Hulu.
You know that show.
David Spade is the host of the show.
That show that you mentioned predates me. I don't remember it, but I have seen highlights on television.
To Tell the Truth,
yeah,
it was an old. I used to watch it in repeats. It was in black and white in the 70s.
And it was three kids, and the first kid's like, "My name's Peter," and he had some extensively long last name, Peter Akajabui or something, and I'm from, and he goes into this whole section, and the second kid walks up and he goes, "My name's the same as his."
And all of their goal is to trick you.
Yes.
Right? And that's kind of what this show is like, if you get a chance to check it out. It's a little bit of, I just call it stress relief. You're sitting there watching something stupid. Let's call it stress relief, which is what talking to us is like for Mayor Jackie Izzo. Or maybe it's the opposite. I don't know. Rome, Mayor Jackie Izzo on the line right now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Have you seen snake oil yet?
I have not.
Yeah. You don't seem like you don't seem like a person that has a lot of sit down, let's watch TV time.
Right now I don't. You're right.
Yeah. All right. Okay, you have presented the budget, and obviously you guys are in the midst of a mayoral campaign. Just a few weeks left, hard to believe. And let's talk about the budget, and I'm assuming you feel why it's important for the council to pass the budget.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've managed not to raise the taxes again for the 7th straight year, so we're proud of that. This budget is about right-sizing all of our salaries and wages. We had all of our unions in earlier this year for collective bargaining. We were able to settle all of our contracts without any mediation or arbitration. So we're pretty happy with that on both sides, I think. But we're in a mode now where the minimum wage has gotten so high that it's affecting the middle and the top. So it had been about 20 years probably that the base salaries had not been adjusted and looked at, and so we took great pains to do that with each one of our bargaining units, and then a percentage increase. So we feel good about where our salaries lie now going forward. And, as they raise the minimum wage even more, next year it goes to $15. After that, it's going to be indexed. It's going to continue to put a strain on us to keep pace with salaries and wages.
It is interesting. It's something we've all talked about when you see these increases. It's certainly when the minimum wage was increased under the Cuomo administration. It's great that you're raising these oftentimes younger people up in wages, but in some places they're up so high that they're making more than the people who've been there for a long time, or at the very least so close that they're out saying, hey, we deserve a raise as well.
Right. And, the governor's staff, I remember when I was coming into office in 2016, they asked me my opinion of this. And I said, I don't think you really want to know my opinion, because as a business person, this is not sustainable. And here we are 8 years later, and the minimum wage has basically increased 100%. That's a lot in that short period of time. So, and it eliminates any seasonal wage. So we're having to pay this wage for seasonal or temporary workers. That's the starting point. So it does. It puts a strain on our full-time workforce.
What is that wage, Mayor? Just curious.
Well, right now I believe it's at $14.20, and it rises to $15 in January.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's the minimum wage, but you're saying you're matching what the minimum wage is for those seasonal employees?
Well, we have to.
Yeah,
we
sure,
don't have
of course,
a choice because we can't remain competitive in the workplace. We can't find employees because they can be going to other retail outlets or grocery stores or temporary jobs where they could be making as much as $19 an hour.
And I'm not knocking anybody, but it's
hour.
literally, you can make more money if you say, do you want fries with that? I might not
and again, it opens the door for people who were making maybe that amount of money, and they're saying, here's this kid off the street who's making the same amount I'm making, and that's not fair.
It's not.
So
and it's great for small businesses, too, when they keep doing this. It's a great thing for small mom-and-pop shops.
Well, the strain on small business
no doubt, and I think he's
exponential.
He's being a bit sarcastic there, but and then the other part of this is, they will they'll try to do more with less people, and we've
you almost have to.
Seen that. Yeah,
there's only so much you can charge someone for a sandwich, or
Yep.
It's just it goes all throughout your business.
Apparently, there's no end to what they can charge for a cup of coffee. It seems some of these big chains.
Yeah.
Quickly, Mayor, what's the message to the council?
That we need to pass the budget. They're finishing up their budget hearings We don't need to be playing games. This is a zero budget. There really is nowhere to cut, and anything that might be reduced only will affect our workforce as far as training and supplies that they require.
Right.
So this is a solid, strong budget, as all of our budgets have been, but they're tight.
Yep.
And they're tight because we need to keep the taxpayer in mind. They're suffering with inflation and other expenses, gas, food costs are way up. So it's incumbent upon the government to try our best to keep our costs as level as possible so that we're not adding to their burden.
Mayor Jackie Izzo, appreciate it. Bright and early this morning. We appreciate the time. Thank you. Right.
Well, thank you. Have a great day.
You do the same. Thanks so much. Mayor Jackie Izzo in Rome. It's 7 o'clock, WIBX Utica, Rome.
Has brought them only suffering.
The president showing American support for Israel, meeting with their war cabinet in Tel Aviv right now. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said moments ago,
while Israel seeks to minimize civilian casualties, Hamas seeks to maximize civilian casualties.
And he says they'll continue to work to free hostages Hamas is holding. As for the hospital bombing, Israel blames another terror group that's been firing rockets at it.
The Israelis say they did not strike this hospital yard. They say it was an Islamic Jihad rocket that misfired landing inside Gaza. Hamas, the group in control of the strip, says that it was an Israeli strike. We are gathering more information, and the Israelis continue to release evidence to support their claim.
That's Fox's Trey Yingst in southern Israel. There have been anti-Israel and anti-American protests in the region, including at the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, Lebanon. Israel's war has overshadowed Russia's invasion of Ukraine, where American long-range missiles have been used for the first time.
The weapons have proven themselves, says President Volodymyr Zelensky. Ukraine putting into use the sought-after ATACMS missile. We're told ATACMS were used to hit 2 Russian air bases in occupied parts of Ukraine. The U.S. finally agreed to send the weapons after Kyiv promised not to use them on targets in Russia itself.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. The House will try again to elect Jim Jordan Speaker the day after 20 of his fellow Republicans voted against him. Congressman Tim Burchett tells Fox.
Some of them are saying they just don't want to give people like myself and others that voted to oust the Speaker the pleasure of a victory. This is no victory. This just proves the dysfunction in the House of Representatives in both parties.
America's listening to Fox News.
All right, Christmas will be here before we know it. If you're looking for a really special gift, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our great friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, you start by going to their website, henryusa.com, order their free holiday gift guide, and they'll mail it with free decals that you can use for stocking stuffers. Perfect timing. Folks, when you give someone a Henry, you're giving them a work of art that is built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen as a collector. Now, their performance is top-notch. Mine were accurate, all of them, right out of the box. They shoot smooth and straight, and they have been reliable ever since. They have over 200 models of rifles and shotguns and revolvers to choose from. One of the things I like the most about these firearms, they're family heirlooms. They'll always be backed by the company's lifetime warranty. So if you want to put something that's made in America under the tree this Christmas, henryusa.com. Get their free gift guide and their decals today. That's henryusa.com. You will love this company.
All right, we have cloudy skies, 44 degrees. WIBX News Time is 7:03. This news update is brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit them online at clintontractor.net. The Utica Zoo is closed today after a zookeeper came in contact and was injured by a male African lion during a feeding late yesterday afternoon. Officials say the keeper suffered non-life-threatening injuries, was treated, and then released from the hospital last evening. Officials also say at no time was the public or any other staff at risk, and the lions did not at any time have access outside of their zoo enclosure. The zoo's executive director, Andrea Heath, says there will be no punitive action against the lions. An incident occurred which is being reviewed. We will learn from it, and we are grateful for our staff and that the animals are okay. Again, the Utica Zoo is closed today. A state Supreme Court jury has cleared the Saratoga Springs Police Department of wrongdoing in the death of Darrell Mount Jr. This case dates back a decade. The verdict was handed down yesterday, just hours after the attorneys hired by Mount's family rested in their wrongful death case that sought $10 million in damages. Lawyers for the city say Mount was hurt after falling off scaffolding while trying to escape from officers after he hit his girlfriend back in 2013. His family claims he was assaulted by police officers. Members of the Micron Community Engagement Committee will be hosting a meeting in Syracuse tonight. The goal is to get feedback from the community about how the 14-member committee should spend some $500 million in their Community Investment Framework Fund over the next 20 years. The event is open to the public. It's being held at the Museum of Science and Technology from 4:30 to 7:30. Micron is planning to build a new chip plant and hire thousands in central New York. A ninth carrier will soon be offering trips from Syracuse Hancock International Airport. Sun Country Airlines is set to provide seasonal service from the Syracuse area to Minneapolis-St. Paul next year. Flights will be offered twice a week. They'll run from June 6th through September 1st. No word yet on how much fares will cost. More information at suncountry.com.
Do you have any idea why that service has been added?
I don't.
Is there something because it only services Minneapolis?
It's interesting.
So, I mean, is that some big hub where you can go somewhere else and connect? Or is there something in Minneapolis where a lot of people from the region go to? I got to look deeper into that.
Yeah, I do not know other than that basic information.
Yeah, that's what I read as well.
WIBX News Time is 7:06. Your Weather Center forecast comes to you from Eyewitness News. We could see some sunshine late this morning as we did yesterday. However, looking at mostly cloudy skies for this afternoon. And, Bill, there's a shocker coming up in this forecast. A high today of 61. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 42. Mostly sunny on Thursday with a high of 66.
That's a shocker.
Friday, cloudy, chance of showers, a high of 67. Saturday, showers, a high of 59.
And here's
Sunday,
the shocker.
Chance of rain showers and a high of 48 degrees.
Boy, is it possible we'll see a little frost on Sunday night?
Boy, it comes quick. Monday night's low is 31.
Yeah.
Sunday night's low is 36. So, yeah, I would say by mid next week we'll have our frost at some point here.
Okay.
All right. What'd I say? 46 right now. Cloudy. It is 7:07. All right, quickly in sports. Boy, these Phillies are tough, man. I hate them. The Phillies just 2 wins away from advancing to the World Series for the second straight year. Kyle Schwarber had gone the whole playoffs without a home run. He had a home run in Game 1 and then 2 last night. 10-0 the final. Not much of a game there. The Diamondbacks will host Game 3 coming up Thursday in Phoenix. In the American League side, the Rangers hold a 2-0 series lead. Texas will host the reigning World Series champion Astros for Game 3 coming up tonight. The two teams will take the diamond at Globe Life Field. Max Scherzer is slated to get the start for the Rangers. It's always great to see former Mets pitchers pitching in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Scherzer, Verlander.
Doing better than they were when they were Mets players.
Good news for the San Francisco 49ers. Christian McCaffrey does not have a serious injury. He left their loss on Sunday to the Cleveland Browns with a rib injury and an oblique strain. In fact, he's doing so well now they think he might be able to play on Monday night against the Vikings. The Eagles adding a 7-time Pro Bowler to their roster like they needed more help. Julio Jones signing a 1-year deal to join Philadelphia. The 34-year-old played for the Buccaneers last year. He caught 24 passes and 2 touchdowns. He was originally selected by the Falcons 6th overall in 2011. He also made a stop with the Tennessee Titans in 2021. Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers still hoping to make a quick recovery from his Achilles surgery. During his weekly spot on the Pat McAfee Show, Rodgers said that he's ahead of schedule but still has many hurdles to clear. Rodgers mentioned that he will have to meet specific markers in his recovery. In addition to getting more time to practice, the 39-year-old said that his next goal is to jog, followed by explosive movements, then practice. Rodgers currently working in the gym on weight transfer from side to side. The Jets are third in the AFC at 3-3. They visit the Giants coming up in Week 8 at MetLife Stadium. Can I just say one thing? I know the Giants stink. I'm not being mean to the Jets, but I don't. That's a tough division, and Miami's better than I thought they were. The idea that like he's going to come back at the end of the season, what are they going to be? What are they going to be? 6-8?
Man, they've spent all of the last year building up his, I want to say reputation, but stock, right? Building up his stock. I mean, from he's, where's he going to go? Is he going to go to the Jets? Is he going to go? Now he's there. Jets going to be a Super Bowl team. The defense is so good. He now has the line to protect him. They're going all the way. Last week it was the Jets' victory last week. That upset victory they had last week happened much in part to Aaron Rodgers, who had a headset on the sidelines. I mean, they're building this guy up. He ought to give his agent a raise.
Yeah.
Because that guy's done a great job. Now, the question is, and we don't know yet, right? We've seen, 4 plays? The question is, can he live up to all of the hype? I can tell you some Packers fans, like our man Andrew Dominio out there, saying the answer to that is no. But we'll see.
So I'll just say this. If Daniel Jones got a 4-year, $160 million contract, I think I might have said this before, Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, if Rodgers is good, are worth $1 billion.
By the way, Nagel says, now you hate the Phillies? Jeez, what's going on, man?
Philadelphia, it's a tough sports town. They booed Santa Claus. They booed their own players.
Listen, if you're a Mets fan, you're not a Phillies fan.
Definitely not. And as a Giants fan, I can't stand the Eagles. And Miracle at the Meadowlands 1, Miracle at the Meadowlands 2, Miracle at the Meadowlands 3. Coming soon to a football game near you, Miracle at the Meadowlands 4. It's disgusting. I can't take those teams.
Mike, while I think Brady is nuts talking about flags, he was complaining about football becoming almost non-contact right now. I do think the NFL is going to have to look at this Philadelphia tush push. It seems to me there's a high probability of people getting injured doing that play.
I don't know. I guess, look.
Can I say the Bills invented one of those last week? Maybe it was in Jacksonville when they played in London. It was actually Josh Allen pushing the running back across the goal line.
I don't know how, because there's going to be plays. Like, it's tough enough with pass interference. Did he hold him? Did he tug him? Did he interfere? If a defender's trying to tackle a running back and you're the blocker right there, I think you're going to get into situations where they go, no, he was clearly blocking. He was cleanly blocking the guy. He wasn't pushing his running back. I don't think they want to get into penalties for this stuff.
Okay. Anything further? You good?
No, I'll stop.
All right. By the way, the Pioneers this weekend, Utica men's hockey is at the Adirondack Bank Center. They open up Friday night at home. And we'll speak with head coach Gary Heenan coming up in a few minutes. Tucker Backyard Pools and Spas. It's that time of year to think about a spa hot tub. And they have some beautiful hot tubs on display in their brand new showroom, Tucker Backyard Pools and Spas, where they bring the fun to your backyard. And by the way, their spas, artesian spas, over 30 years of manufacturing excellence, and they are made in the USA. Tucker Backyard Pools and Spas for all of the chemicals you might need, and, of course, for pools and spas.
Well, there's one thing I'm really going to miss about Utica Pioneer hockey, and it's devastating, and it was something that was notable every time you went to a game. Oh, say, can you see?
I think they still do that. Do they still do that, Devin?
Yeah, you'll get a lot of the audience still going for that.
Yeah, still doing it.
But it's you.
It's you. You. Well, I think FX Matt's going to have to create a new beer.
Uncle Ulysses.
Okay, maybe that's it. Okay, Senator Joe Griffo on the line right now. Joseph, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
So, Joe, I know that you put out a release late yesterday on a story that we actually had on the air yesterday morning, and that is this Cornell University professor that was going, I think, way over the top when speaking at a pro-Palestinian rally in Ithaca. How did you handle that? I know you took some action.
Yeah, what we did is we were able to communicate with the president of the university, President Pollack at Cornell. In my role as the ranking member of the Higher Education Committee, the comments that Professor Rickford made at the rallies, and we recognize that when you're on a university campus, you're going to have a variety of different points of view. They abound, opinions abound, and even in this particular conflict, where you have diversity, people are going to feel and believe different things. But the comments of this professor who holds a responsible position at the university to glorify and embrace murder and terrorism is just totally unacceptable. So regardless of what we talk about and how things occur on a campus, a university campus, when you have debate and dialogue, this really went over the top. To me, it's what we witnessed 11, 12 days ago was genocidal homicide in Israel. I mean, the acts of terror there. We collectively as a society, I think, have to come together to be able to condemn terrorism and not accept in any way, regardless of where you may stay relative to a particular stance on an issue, terrorism, to embrace and glorify terrorism is just totally unacceptable. And to me, it borders on hate speech. And if you look at if a professor did something similarly on race or things of that nature, you would have seen the university take a much stronger position than a statement that just basically disassociates themselves with the professor's
Well,
words.
and their statement was the despicable atrocities perpetrated by Hamas in Israel last week left the world reeling in shock, horror, anger, and grief. The brutal attacks shattered countless innocent lives, caused unimaginable pain, and challenged our very understanding of humanity. Intentional targeting and killing of innocent civilians is the very definition of terrorism. So they made a pretty strong statement. Professor Russell Rickford is the professor you're talking about. Here was his statement. He said at this rally, the attack by Hamas was exhilarating and energizing. And if it weren't exhilarating by the challenge to the monopoly of violence, by this shifting of the balance of power, then they would not be human. I was exhilarated, he exclaimed during the speech in front of about 50 students on campus in Ithaca. Boy, and you know it first of all, it was terrible, right? But you think about it, there is such a hatred of the Jewish population there. They want to rid the world of Jews. I mean, it's hard not to think about that when he makes those statements.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why I believe the university needs to go further than a statement. What they need to do is condemn the professor, and he should face some form of censorship or consequence for his remarks. I mean, so they're just basically just issuing a statement. And as I said, I think there's a double standard there, because if you saw a professor speak relative to another issue on gender, race, or something, you would see the university take further actions, in addition to any kind of statement distancing and divorcing themselves of the particular opinion that was expressed. But in this case, as you indicated, Bill, from my opinion, this borders on almost hate speech. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Hamas is out to just not only they want to make Israel extinct. They don't believe in the right of that nation to exist and that everyone there should be killed. And you see that with the hostages that have been taken. And you see the positions that they're taking right now, recognizing that they're on the verge of potential annihilation by a superior military. And now all of a sudden, they're trying to put themselves in a position of negotiation. But what they did is reprehensible, unacceptable. And to have anybody in academia to go out there and glorify that is just unacceptable.
Yesterday was the what is being called a rocket attack on a hospital, and the number of innocent children and just innocent members of the public were killed and injured. But I got to say, Israel is saying that was not us. That came from another. It did not come from Hamas, but it came from another Arab enemy, I believe, of Israel. And I do not believe that was Israel. And I think that there's a great benefit to Hamas if the hospital is blown up and you can blame Israel for it.
Right. They're doing the same thing.
Yeah. Particularly if you're trying to turn public opinion around after what they did.
And by the way, in the Arab world, there are going to be many protests today protesting Israel because they bombed this hospital. And I just don't believe, based on everything we know, the reports that are out there, I don't believe that Israel bombed that hospital.
And you got to remember, Hamas has been notorious for trying to use its own citizens as shields.
Right. Yeah.
And when you look at something like this and you're turning around public opinion, I think you saw that even yesterday where they were negotiating through, I know Ryan comes on, and maybe you can ask him, one of the NBC reporters talking to a Hamas spokesman who was beginning to say that they would release all the hostages if they would just stop the bombing.
Yeah, I saw
but
that.
They put themselves in this position, and now they have to face the consequences of that action. And I think from an Israeli perspective, and I stand with Israel, they are saying that, now we're going to annihilate you because we've tried to coexist with you, but your objective is to eliminate us from the face of the earth, and we don't accept that and can't accept that.
Yeah.
And what you did when you murdered innocent people and beheaded babies. So this is, as you indicated, I think, something, there may have been an errant bomb or an attack that took place from somewhere else. I don't believe the Israeli government, and it puts them in a difficult position because now they have to prove that, because you are going to have this sensitivity, because any loss of life in this regard, the innocence on either side is unacceptable when you consider babies are being killed. It's wrong.
So there are two issues where you received criticism. President Trump on January 6th during the rally, many have criticized, and actually it's ended up in court, where the belief was that the words that he used, they have meaning, and it inspired people to attack the Capitol on January 6th. Also, Chuck Schumer, remember Chuck Schumer over the Supreme Court issue over abortion, made comments that could have been taken in a way that may have inspired someone to be violent. And he received a great deal of criticism for that. So those two issues, one a Democrat, one a Republican. But this does seem different, Joe. This almost seems calling the attack where innocent people, civilians, women and children as well, were murdered and taken as hostage, describing that on a college campus as exhilarating and energizing. I almost fear that it could inspire someone to cause harm on the college campus.
Well, absolutely. And again, that's where individuals like this have a responsibility and have to be held accountable. And as I indicated earlier, it doesn't say, I'm not indicating or saying that this professor doesn't have a right to express an opinion pro-Palestinian, anti-Israeli, pro-Israeli, anti-Palestinian. That you're going to see on a college campus. You're seeing peaceful demonstrations. We may disagree with a particular position or opinion, but in this sense, to me, this borders on hate speech. To glorify genocidal, brutal terrorism just is nonsensical, and particularly when you're in a position of responsibility. And you're right, Bill.
Yeah.
I mean, this could encourage somebody else who may be on the fringe right now to say, well, this professor indicated this, and I agree with that position. And as a result, here's what I'm going to do now.
Yep.
So to me, these were anti-Semitic statements, and they should be handled much more strongly from a university perspective than the actions that were undertaken. A statement is insufficient. I think this individual, this professor, needs to be condemned at least and censured in some way. There's got to be a consequence for his action. And they would have done that, in my own personal opinion, that would have been done if another professor was speaking on race or gender or trying to say something similar against a particular group of individuals.
All right. Well, that's a different situation. This is a war between two governments, which makes it a little bit different. But all right, I get the point, Joe, and we appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you both, guys. Take care.
Right. Have a great day. You're rolling your eyes, Manasseh.
No, I wanted to follow up with him,
but
sorry. I didn't. I can't answer the question now because he's not on the line. Does Senator Griffo think that, was he talking about like domestic race issues in this country?
Correct, and that's why I'm saying I don't see the comparison there, because this Hamas is the government of the Palestinian people of the Gaza Strip. So you have two governments at war right now. It is much easier for someone to pick a political side in a war versus a domestic issue like transgender or race or something like that. I don't see the comparison there. But the other part is, and he's not calling for necessarily the guy to be fired, but that there should be some consequence for. And I do think that his words, boy, really border on potentially inspiring violence on a college campus. So I think that we gotta, free speech is not absolute.
So correct. Well, we could go so many ways here. Is the doorbell ringing?
Maybe, but I've got to move. So.
Okay. I was just going to say, I think actually, if you said something that was against a certain race of people, that would be condemned or punished. But if there have been, cases of professors saying things that.
But remember, this is that is
correct.
Different. He is siding with a government that he feels is oppressed by the Israelis. So there is a difference there.
Yes.
And that's where I don't think the comparison. However, at the same time, saying the attack was exhilarating and energizing, those were his words. And I can't help but when I think of the attack going to people just ransacking a house and pulling people out and shooting them. I mean, that's what comes to my mind.
The other thing is freedom of speech, that people don't quite understand what freedom of speech is. And in this country, what freedom of speech is that the government cannot detain, arrest, penalize you essentially for if they say something that you don't like.
Well, in
but
this
private
case,
entities,
it would be the university could do whatever it wants. It's a private university, I guess. But I would say they.
But when people say, "Oh, it's freedom of speech," he can say whatever he wants. The institution can say, "Well, we don't stand for that, so we don't want you here."
Correct.
Yes.
and let's say Town Square is the institution.
Correct.
They can do it very easily here.
But Joe Biden can't say, "Arrest that man. He said I'm a bad president."
Unless you're in that town where they went and ransacked the newspaper, the police did. Do you remember that story?
Yes.
That police chief has been fired, by the way. All right. Head coach Gary Heenan, only game in town this weekend. His Utica Pioneers, the men's hockey team, facing off Friday night at the Adirondack Bank Center. Gary, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
All right, this is exciting. Here we go. Let's talk about Friday night.
Yeah, just another season for us getting underway. It'll certainly be a different season, just with the turnover we've had. We're the youngest we've ever been since our inaugural season. So we've got just a ton of energy, but we're facing some growing pains and just get guys acclimated to this level. And we're going to do that against the USA Under-18 national program. So a team that we've done pretty well with in the past. They've been some really good hockey games. And this is one of those games that, most of these guys end up in the national league. Last year, I think there was 13 NHL draft picks off this one team alone, and four to six of them in the first round. But they've got a couple just super talented guys projected to be second, third overall in the draft. So we've got our work cut out for us. It should be, if you want to see just unbelievable 17-year-old talent against college hockey, this is the night. They beat number one in the country, Division I, Boston University last week, 8-2.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it should be it should be an entertaining affair.
They're pretty good, is what you're saying.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good. We've last year we lost 6-2 to them up there in their place. They do only play two Division IIs, one in their backyard, Adrian and us. So they'll play us Friday night. They go over to Cornell and play them on the Saturday night. So it's a privilege to have them here. Of course, we'll do our regular thing, roll out the red carpet. We'll have a really nice crowd in here cheering. Really, both teams on. It's funny to see that because they are USA, so you see some crowd cheering for them. Yeah. But it's kind of the unveiling of 18 new bodies for us. So, it's an unveiling of our new group to our fans, and they're pumped up. And then certainly our guys are. There's a lot of guys we've recruited in that group that are excited to see what this building can do. They visit in the summer, and they've never seen a game in there. So it's there's a lot of energy in the building here. We're jumping on the ice here at 7:45 this morning, and guys are just ready for a game. We've been practicing for some time. So we're excited to see what we have. We're at that point. We're like, okay, we've practiced enough. We've got to get into a game to really, really see what we have.
Gary, let me ask you, these guys are really, really good. What is the benefit to putting your players up against a team that is, well, as you said, a team that just crushed Boston the other night?
Yeah, like I can remember our old AD, Jim Spartano, absolutely ripping me. Maybe 20 years ago, we played this team, and we lost 10-1 at home. And he was like, "Why would you ever start your year that way, negative?" And we're a much different team than we were back then. I'd be shocked if it's that result. But it's just such a privilege to have them. It's a unique experience for a team at our level to get this club in their building, and I think the building does that, the fan base does that, and the caliber of our team traditionally has attracted them. But it's so awesome just to say, I watched the Sabres game last night and seeing Alex Tuck score goals, and we played against him here. We beat him here. Jack Eichel hoist the Stanley Cup. We played against him here. We beat him here. Hughes for the Devils. We played against him. We didn't beat him. He had a hat trick against us. So it's really kind of cool experience for our guys, and hopefully they're like, "What the hell are we doing playing a D3 team?" and come in a little flat, and we can take advantage of that.
And by the way, next week, so tomorrow, Friday night, it's the USA Under-18 team, 7 p.m. at the Adirondack Bank Center. Next Friday and Saturday, you're playing at home. Adrian on Friday night, and then Saturday at 2 p.m., Adrian again. So a big opening this weekend and next weekend at the Adirondack Bank Center.
Yeah, next weekend, I suspect, the rankings will all come out, and Adrian will be, number 2 probably, and we'll be, up there somewhere, which is all based on last year. We're certainly not a top 5 team right now.
Yep.
And those 2 games are just enormous, as you guys know, for the NCAA tournament 5 months from now. So, it's a hell of a start for us, and, we're going to have to really watch some video off what we see this weekend. And, thankfully for us, our first 5 are at home, so we need the home cooking, we need the support, and it should be some really, really good hockey here to start the year.
All right, Friday night tickets still available to the Adirondack Bank Center. You can go online or go over to the box office. And Gary, thanks. We'll see you Friday night.
Awesome, thanks, guys.
All right, thanks so much, head coach Gary Heenan with the Utica University Pioneers. All right, let's do Hobica's free money question of the day. It's a chance for you to win this morning. $200 is the number we're throwing out there this morning. And Devin, $200. What caller are you looking for?
Let's go for number 6 today.
Caller number 6. $200 on the line right now. 315-736-0186 at WIBX.
The Wynn Hospital. Unwavering commitment and compassion. State-of-the-art technology and techniques. Advanced expertise and innovation. Consistent safety and quality. And it all will be exactly where you need it, because this fall, the brand new state-of-the-art Wynn Hospital will open in downtown Utica. Soon, you will be able to experience local care on a whole new level. The Wynn Hospital, world-class care is right around the corner. Learn more at mvhealthsystem.org. This is for you. At MVHS, our team members fell in love with care long ago. Their lives were changed, and their world has been expanding ever since. In respect, compassion, knowledge, and ability. And it's only just begun. Because fueling the future of care starts here at the Wynn Hospital. The Wynn Hospital, opening in October 2023. Learn more at mvhealthsystem.org. This is for you.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99, save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
And paid for by Case Legal Media. Attention Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those on the Marine Corps-based Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. Until now, North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve. But passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file a lawsuit seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-348-9161. Don't wait. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-348-9161. That's 800-348-9161. Again, 800-348-9161.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Hey, River Hills Properties is and continues to be the fastest growing real estate company here in central New York, all because of the services provided. Right from the very beginning, they're working with you, working to assist you and relieve the stress and the duties that have to be done, and they help you. They guide you through the process so that you're always putting your best foot forward. Every time your house is shown, your listing agent is there to make sure the door is open, the lights are on, and if anybody has a question, your listing agent is there to answer those questions. These are the extra services provided by River Hills Properties. Why wouldn't you list to sell your home with River Hills? In Barneveld, Little Falls, Utica. Their offices in Barneveld, Little Falls, and Utica. Online, it's riverhillspropertiesllc.com, servicing all of upstate New York. Call 315-896-1009. Remember, nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties. And Jimmy Fallon coming to town. You want to buy Heroes tickets. That's tickets for a veteran. Just simply call the box office at the Stanley Theater. It's sponsored by River Hills Properties. The idea was veterans that can't afford to see Jimmy Fallon and Kennedy perform on Veterans Day at the Stanley Theater, well, we provide them with some tickets. Sponsored by River Hills Properties.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, here we go. We're going to take a shot at winning Hobica's free money question of the day. And this morning, it's $200 is the number. Joseph and Andrew Hobica at 315-724-1600 is the number. Clark is on the line in Rome. Hello, Clark. Good morning.
Actually, it's Court, Bill.
Court. It's Court. I was like, Clark, as in Griswold. That's the first I've heard, but this is Court, a longtime competitor. Are you ready to go here, Court? Are you ready, man?
I am ready.
All right. You know you have 7 seconds to answer. Here is yours for $200. This country, are you ready, Jeff?
Yes.
This country consists of 7,641 islands. What is it? Ready, go.
Philippines.
Is it for $200? Manasseh, he's right. It is the Philippines.
Winning.
Nice.
Wow, winning.
I knew it. I knew you would walk away. You'd walk away with that one. 7,641 islands, and it makes up the Philippines. Nice job. It's good. It's good for $200, Clark.
Total guess, Bill. Total guess.
That was it. Was that a total guess?
Total guess.
Good for you. That was a. Listen, what else are you going to guess? I mean, you wouldn't want to say Hawaii. You'd sound stupid.
Yeah.
At least when I tested that.
I was thinking Galapagos. Japan.
Yeah. Philippines, perfect. You want to add to that?
I was going to guess Indonesia.
Indonesia. Philippines is the correct answer.
Yeah.
All right, nice job, Court. Congratulations. You'll get $200 from the Hobica Law Firm. And Devin's going to get all your information, all right?
Thank you, Bill.
All right, man. Nice job. Love it when it's a guess out of nowhere. It's like Philippines. And he's absolutely right. In studio right now, another $200, by the way, out the door from Hobica. He's got to love it. He's got to love it.
It's a good thing Siri didn't say $500.
Yeah. Well, Siri didn't speak today. I gave him a little relief. In studio right now is Celeste Friend. She's running for mayor of Utica. And here we are. Basically, you have about 2.5 weeks.
20 days.
20 days is the number. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
So what is the, I know there have been some forums, there have been opportunities out there. What do you want people to know right now as we progress through the campaign?
Well, just a couple of days ago, Wynn Hospital had their opening, and it was really, they did a great job. Of course, it's named for Steve Wynn. He's a Las Vegas guy, so it had a lot of Las Vegas touches to it.
There did seem to be some Vegas there.
There was some Vegas there. That's right. He brought some Vegas to the Mohawk Valley. There were dancers on the side of the building. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And all of that. So, but this is really, really exciting for Utica. Now that you can walk around the entire hospital campus, because those roads aren't closed down anymore, you can really see the enormous investment, the enormous public investment that was made into our city, into our region by the state. And it's really just incredible. And it's incredible to see already all the sort of the effects that that's having in terms of other people investing. So the Steam and Cotton Mill building is up and running, and Brooklyn Pickle is a bustling lunch place. The Utica University Nexus Center across the street. The people who developed the Steam and Cotton have bought some buildings on Hostel Street and are going to be renovating them using historic tax credits, which means that our beautiful old buildings are going to be preserved. So the hospital is just such an amazing public investment that is going to radiate out all across the city and really create this enormous resurgence for Utica that will have ramifications all across the city. And I'm really excited for it. And I'm really excited for the fact that this shows that public investments in our city can do really great things, and that we need to carry on with that. I'm really excited to have endorsements from both Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and from Senator Kirsten Gillibrand and from Tom DiNapoli. And I had the chance to chat with the governor at the Wynn Hospital opening and express to her how important these investments are. And I think we need to make sure that we carry on with those kinds of big public investments in our city, because we deserve it. We need it. It's good for us. It's good for all of us.
I'm telling you, you'd gotten a little snapshot with Senator Joe Griffo, with a Republican, that you crossed the aisle.
I didn't. I said, I think I said to him, he said he wanted to take a picture. I said, that sounds like an endorsement, Senator, and he walked away.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to get Joe's endorsement.
I don't think I'm going to get Joe's endorsement. But
right.
I am confident that if I'm the mayor, when I'm the mayor, that Joe and I will work with each other. Assemblywoman Miriam Buttonshaw and I have a nice relationship, and that we'll all work together to continue these kinds of public investments in Utica. And I'm really concerned that had Michael Galime been the mayor when this deal was being worked out, I don't think we'd be here now. Michael was very clearly against the hospital. Publicly against the hospital. He made that clear at the time. So I wonder, if he had been mayor, would we have gotten this hospital?
Do you remember it that way?
I want to ask Galime about that. You're saying that is absolute fact that he was against.
Yeah, I've seen there's a video circulating of his own making on Facebook from several years ago, in which it seems very clear to me that he thinks that the hospital would be very bad for Utica in terms of the displacement of other local businesses.
Oh, wow.
I will say that I do not feel that Mayor Palmieri was a partner by any means and was an obstacle in many cases when it came to this hospital going downtown, at the very least where it ended up downtown. And it still happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
right, but he believes in public investment, right? Mayor Palmieri does believe in getting the state and the federal government to help continue to rebuild Utica and to invest in Utica. And that's what I think is really important. We have to believe in public investment in our city if we're really going to make this big turnaround.
Actually, it's Andrew saying Palmieri was against it too. And the thing is right outside his window. What would you say about Rob Palmieri being against the hospital going where it went?
Well, I think he had questions about some of the finer details of it, but not against it per se. I think he wanted the hospital to come to Utica. I think, as I recall, he thought it should have been 90 degrees turned around. So the front entrance, the relationship between the garage and the front entrance and Oriskany Boulevard and what is now Hospital Way, but
Yes,
so
he wanted
I think he had
faced in a different direction.
Yeah, he wanted it facing in a different direction.
But he became quite the opponent after the hospital said, no, we're doing it this way.
But I don't think he ever didn't want the hospital.
Okay.
All those years in government, I didn't know that he spent time as a developer and that he did that stuff. That's great to know.
Well, he did have Bowers at his side at one point, but not anymore.
Bowers' relationship has very much soured with the city.
To the point where Bowers is saying they may counter with a lawsuit.
Yes.
And what are they saying? They're on that mic, if you could, please. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
They're saying that they believe that he is serving as or using the codes department to harass them.
Yeah. Go and look at that block.
It's bad.
Just north of Schuyler, of the Fort Schuyler Club. Our beautiful, wonderful, terrific Fort Schuyler Club to be cheek and jowl with that horrific mess of buildings. And there's not even an attempt to make it minimally passable in terms of what it looks like. I mean, what would it take to board it up, for goodness sakes? It's an embarrassment. It's a shame. It's an incredible eyesore in the middle of our beautifully new, reinvested downtown. It's really gross.
So I want to ask, it's kind of what I asked, but this is asking more specifically. Speaking of investments, and you've criticized now, but here's this person's question. Speaking of investments, would Celeste have done something different regarding Bowers? And did the current administration screw up when it comes to Bowers?
Well, I think it's really important for everybody to remember that not all of the Bowers buildings are necessarily ones that the government has any hand in. So, in fact, the one that we were just talking about north of Fort Schuyler Club on that block, that was a private sale from one private entity to another. The government's, everybody worries that I'm a socialist. I'm going to tell you that I'm not, and here's the evidence. We don't interfere in the private transfer of property from a seller to a buyer. That's not government's role. It shouldn't be government's role. So there's nothing that we could have done to prevented that. So we have to distinguish between the places where Bowers has come in and bought something from the city in order to redevelop it versus Bowers has bought something from another private property owner in order to redevelop it. Those are very different sorts of situations.
Gina asks, when you say public investment, you said that public investment does work when talking about the hospital. What you're really meaning is taxpayer funded. How do you respond to that?
Well, but not our taxpayers, right? So
ultimately all taxpayers in New York.
Well, yeah, I mean, the county's responsible for some. The city of Utica was supposed to be responsible for some. Ultimately, I think that was what Palmieri gave the stiff arm to.
Any money that comes from New York State comes from all taxpayers in New York State.
But in addition to that, there is a county burden and a city burden.
Yeah. How do you respond to that?
But most of that, yes, it comes from all of New York State, but that's not distributed evenly across the state.
And
most of New York State taxes are gathered from south of 60th Street in Manhattan.
Let's not forget that Steve Wynn's money is in there, and so is MVHS's. Over 300. What was the amount?
The 300 came from the state.
300 came from the state.
But they
50
had to,
came from Steve Wynn.
But I seem to recall that the hospital had to match somewhere in that.
I'm sure that they are leveraged.
A lot of money had to be raised.
Yes, a lot of money had to be raised. But
and I'm not saying there wasn't government money. I'm saying they also had skin in the game.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of partners, right? So you have multiple partners, private and public, in order to bring this incredible new investment to our city that is going to just do wonders for us for a long time to come, and wonders, I believe, for all of us. I don't think that the consequences, the long-term consequences of the hospital are just going to be in that immediate vicinity. We're going to look, doctors and nurses and all sorts of people are going to come here to get jobs at that hospital, around that hospital. That's going to increase sales tax revenue. That's going to increase. It's going to be good for the city across the board, and we can use that money as a city to invest in our neighborhoods, to invest in West Utica, to invest in Cornhill, to invest in South Utica, etc., to invest in North Utica.
If I'm correct, also the Nexus and the Adirondack Bank Center improvements to the bank center involved a great deal of state money.
A lot of state money
as well. So we're gonna talk to Mike Curley coming up in a second from UPD when we wrap up with you on the Utica Zoo issue. Right, is what we're going to talk about, just to get the details from last night. So stand by.
I don't know
for
enough
that.
about that, so I'm looking forward to hearing.
And he said they responded. Actually, go ahead, but we'll talk to him. Yeah,
I wanted to ask you one of your opponent's supporters, somebody who's running for legislator, Jim Zecca, along with another member, they organized a protest over at St. E's, protesting potential illegal migrants. I realize we can argue over the definition and what the correct label is, but those people, whether they're homeless or people that came from Venezuela or wherever, coming up here and being housed at St. E's. To my knowledge, there is no evidence whatsoever that has even been requested or talked about.
None.
And talk about the protest and your reaction to that, if you could.
So first of all, I did go down there just to kind of get my eyeballs on it. Protest is a big word for a small event.
And I should say they didn't use protest.
Okay. They said a press conference, I think.
They were holding at a public awareness event, so I don't want to put words in Jim's mouth.
Right. And very few people showed up. Jim and his few people, and then maybe two people from the press. There wasn't, as far as I could tell, anybody from the public coming to learn anything. But this is a classic political trick that we see every 2 years in this city. Create a false problem in order to look like you're addressing a crisis. And it happens every time, and we all need to be on guard against this. No one ever suggested that we ought to house anyone at St. E's. St. E's is going to shut down in a couple of weeks. MVHS is going to work hard to secure the site, right? Make sure that it can't be vandalized, etc. And then the city and the county and MVEG and MVHS are already in the process of developing a redevelopment plan that we can market to developers. And then we're going to build I hope, a whole new neighborhood there that's going to benefit South Utica, that's going to benefit all of Utica. No one has ever suggested that we do anything else. And yet this crisis has been created in order to, and it's something that slick politicians do all the time, get a rumor going that there's some big crisis so that you can respond to it and you look like the good guy. And it's been invented out of whole cloth.
I think that's a legitimate concern because there's a real lingering question as to what happens to those facilities. There's been some talk about different types of housing that could be put there. New York City has tried, and the governor on multiple occasions, to bring those migrants upstate. And I think the people who live in that neighborhood, including you,
I'm going to tell you right now, I completely disagree with you 1,000 times over. And it is and I agree with, in this case, I agree with Celeste. It is a false. It is. There is no evidence.
No, there is no evidence, but they don't want that to happen.
I understand, but you're holding an event for something that could happen, but never has been suggested.
Right, it would be like, let's have a rally up at the zoo against this idea that they're going to let the lions roam free every day. I think that's a terrible idea.
Could happen.
Yeah, anything could happen. Right.
It's in my point, but
what's going to happen to St. E's? You have no idea, do you?
No.
Listen.
We are
you don't have a clue. Who's going to pay to demo that building? How many millions would that cost?
A lot.
You think the state that's trying to relocate them is just going to go, you know what? We don't need that building. Go ahead. Here's $50 million to demo that building.
That's not the plan. It's not government. They're looking for developers to come in. That's the plan, to build a neighborhood, to build housing, etc.
Part of, if you look at our housing
plan
study
right now.
If you
now,
there is not a plan right now.
That is the plan that they
That is
are.
the hope, fingers crossed. Someone come please give us money.
I understand.
No, it's not hopes, fingers crossed.
Hold on.
Hold on. Paid for a housing study.
Oh, my Lord. Stop for a second. Stop. The fact is, it is currently being studied. If you want to go to a place...
It's already been studied once. This
Jeff,
is the second study.
Let me finish. If you want to go to a place where there is some possibility for this to happen, they should be at the Psych Center or a state-owned facility where this could happen. The governor could order it to happen, and we couldn't stop it. No one's going to stop it. There's no order from the county executive that will stop the governor from putting people in a state facility. There's where your worry should be, not at St. E's. Enough of this, because I got to move on. Joe Lode, quickly, I don't know what you're going to say, Joe, but I'm sure it's going to be even worse. Hi, Joe.
I wanted to address something that Celeste said about bringing doctors and things and people in here into this city and working at this new hospital, the new Wynn Hospital. The problem is you need to develop a nightlife, because if you have bars and restaurants closing at 9 o'clock at night and they don't even stay open for Monday Night Football, then we have a problem here. Who the hell wants to come to a city that goes to sleep at 9 o'clock at night?
Joe,
so
amen.
That's what I think we need to address.
You're absolutely right, Joe. I couldn't agree more. And I think we need good things for people to do at night, and not just on Varick Street, but Varick Street is one place. We need places where young people, young professionals can go and hang out and listen to music and meet each other. I couldn't agree more. I think that's very important to the long-term sort of sustainability of the city.
And the only thing I will say to that, Joe, is every city in America is having a problem with people, with everything closing up at 9 o'clock at night. It's unbelievable. Since COVID, apparently America's decided at 9 o'clock we turn into a ugly stepchild, or
but Joe is right.
That whatever the fairy tale is, the pumpkin and all of that.
But Joe is right. I've talked before about the need to make sure that families want to live here, and I stand by that. But we also need to make sure that young professionals who don't yet have families want to live here.
And by the way, those places that are staying open after 9 need to hire Joe Lode to do the DJing.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Have a good day. All right.
You too.
All right, this got heated. Everybody good? Everybody, Jeff, you look heated. Everybody good?
No,
Everybody good?
I'm good.
Are you
I'm
good?
No,
Are you good?
You agreed with me and against Jeff. I'm super.
And that never happens, Celeste.
Listen,
that never happens.
I'm going to tell you right now, I have never agreed. I have never come out and say I agree with Celeste.
1,000. I think you said 1,000%. Did you say 1,000%?
I might have said that, but on this issue, this is built on false pretenses.
Narrative that intentionally gets created.
A scary moment where people can say, ooh, she's the boogeyman.
It doesn't have anything to do with Celeste.
I understand.
It doesn't have anything. I'm not putting that on you. My opinion. I'm not putting that on you.
I never said you did. I didn't say you did, which is why I'm going to bring in Mike Curley to end this once and for all. Mike Curley, good morning.
Good morning, and I am not the guy to end anything.
No, nor is he going to get into it, although I do believe the PBA did endorse your opponent, Mike Galime.
Good morning, Lieutenant.
Okay. Lieutenant Mike Curley, talk, if you could, about what are you looking at?
I was just going to mention, when I talked to Mike last night, he said essentially this was pretty much handled by the fire department. They were called to respond. And what I said to him was we were going to go over the various things that Utica police have to respond to. It could be an argument, a political argument, but in this case, they were called to handle a possible attack with a lion. And I think it's just an example of the different things that the Utica Police Department has to deal with on a daily basis.
Okay.
And we always expect them to have the right answer.
Can I say something about that?
No, because I only have a minute and a half left. Mike, go ahead.
So quickly about the zoo. So about just before 5 o'clock, we, along with the fire department, were dispatched to the Utica Zoo regarding a lion attack, which was an interesting thing to hear over the radio, obviously.
Yeah.
Very, very thankful to report that the victim suffered minor injuries, obviously a bite and some scratches, but considering the circumstances, could have been much, much worse. So we hope them a full recovery, and we'll leave it up to the zoo and OSHA and those kind of guys to figure out exactly what happened in that particular incident.
All right, fair enough.
So there is not a follow-up investigation. You don't have an investigator assigned to this case right now.
You're not investigating the lion. You're sure?
We won't be bringing any criminal charges against.
The question is, will the other lions talk? That's going to be the real question.
And was the lion
Well,
obviously
it's
released on
Utica.
bail?
Up in the area.
It's Utica. They got to use Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers for that. All right, Mike Curley, have a wonderful day. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, thanks for the update. By
now
the way,
can I tap on?
Not yet.
On?
Not yet. I just have
Oh.
to say one thing. I apologize to all stepchildren out there. I brought that up, and I'm getting yelled at for that.
One
I'm
over
very
my
sorry.
head. I was still upset you agreed with Celeste.
I was trying to figure out the Cinderella Midnight Pumpkin story.
I just do want to repeat something that that Jeff said a minute ago.
10 seconds.
Our police department they have to do 1,000,001 things. They're not always things that they're trained for. They're not the things that they planned on doing. They have to be social workers. They have to be childcare. They have to be lion tamers. And I think that we should give them a lot of credit for all of that.
Thank you, Celeste. WIBX Utica Rome. It's 8 o'clock.
Israel insists it did not bomb that hospital in Gaza. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The entire world was rightfully outraged, but this outrage should be directed not in Israel, but at the terrorists.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowing to do what they can in the war against Hamas to avoid civilian casualties as he sat next to President Biden.
And we'll continue to work together to get our hostages out.
We will continue to have Israel's back as you work to defend your people.
Now, the president also said it appears that hospital bombing in Gaza that killed hundreds of Palestinian civilians was done, in his words, by the other team. As Israel provides evidence, it shows it was a Palestinian militant rocket that misfired. Now, Hamas says the U.S. is blindly biased toward Israel, still blaming the bombing on an Israeli airstrike.
The reality is that in the fog of war, emotions often will take over, and despite the evidence that is seen across the Arab world, we do expect more unrest and protests as a result.
Those protests include fires set outside the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, and Fox's Trey Yingst also reports from Israel.
Overnight, yet another anti-tank guided missile was fired into Israeli territory. There is real concern on the ground that Hezbollah, the Lebanese militant group backed by Iran, could get largely involved in this fighting.
Back to the president. Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House reports the hospital bombing
derailed the second half of his trip. He was supposed to be going to Jordan to speak with the Jordanian king, the president of the Palestinian Authority, and the Egyptians to try to secure safe passage for civilian Palestinians out of Gaza.
The House will vote for Speaker again. That after Jim Jordan was 17 votes shy, with some Republicans refusing to back him. Congressman Ben Klein tells Fox Business who knows what'll happen.
There are going to be some people who promised to support him on the first ballot who may come off. There are some people who voted protest vote against him on the first ballot who will come on.
America's listening to Fox News.
All right, Christmas will be here before we know it. If you're looking for a really special gift, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our great friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, you start by going to their website, henryusa.com, order their free holiday gift guide, and they'll mail it with free decals that you can use for stocking stuffers. Perfect timing. Folks, when you give someone a Henry, you're giving them a work of art that is built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen as a collector. Now, their performance is top-notch. Mine were accurate, all of them, right out of the box. They shoot smooth and straight, and they have been reliable ever since. They have over 200 models of rifles and shotguns and revolvers to choose from. One of the things I like the most about these firearms, they're family heirlooms. They'll always be backed by the company's lifetime warranty. So if you want to put something that's made in America under the tree this Christmas, henryusa.com. Get their free gift guide and their decals today. That's henryusa.com. You will love this company.
We have cloudy skies, 48 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:03. This news update is brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. Well, the Utica Zoo is closed today following an attack by a lion against a zoo worker yesterday. It happened just after 4 p.m. during a routine feeding situation. The worker was not seriously injured, was taken to the hospital, but released last night. Zoo officials stress there will be no punitive damage for the lion that was involved. In other words, they will not be putting it down or shipping it off because of the incident. Again, the Utica Zoo is closed today. I'm sorry, my internet's completely locked up here.
Can I? Does that mean you have no news all of a sudden?
I do now. I just had to limp through that story.
All right,
with what I could remember.
Let me just give you a little tease. Out of sports, the Republican candidate for mayor would like to respond. Mike Galime is coming up right out of sports here.
Elsewhere, in other news, members of the Micron Community Engagement Committee hosting a meeting today in the Syracuse area. The 14-member committee is trying to determine how to spend the $500 million Community Investment Framework Fund over the next 2 decades. The event is open to the public. It's being held at the Museum of Science and Technology from 4:30 to 7:30. Micron is planning to build a new chip fab plant, of course, in Clay. In the Capital District, a state Supreme Court judge has cleared the Saratoga Springs Police Department of wrongdoing in the death of Darrell Mount Jr. The verdict was handed down yesterday, just hours after the attorneys hired by Mount's family rested the wrongful death case, which sought $10 million in damages. Lawyers for the city say Mount was hurt after falling off scaffolding while trying to escape from officers after he hit his girlfriend back in 2013. His family, however, claimed that he was assaulted by police. And the New York State DMV releasing the results of their summer crackdown on the use of fake IDs. The DMV says 312 concertgoers and bar customers were cited for trying to use phony identification to purchase alcohol while being below the legal drinking age. Of those citations, 71 were handed out in the capital region. Last year, over 550 people statewide were cited for that reason. WIBX News Time 8:05, your Weather Center forecast. Could see some, sunshine late this morning, otherwise mostly cloudy for this afternoon, a high of 61. Partly cloudy skies overnight tonight, a low of 42. Sunny for your Thursday, a high of 66. Friday, cloudy with a chance of showers, a high of 67. Saturday, showers, 59. Sunday, showers, and a high of just 48. Comes quick.
Gonna be chilly. Maybe even get a little frost on Sunday night, Monday morning.
Right now we have cloudy skies and 48 degrees. Get used to it. We'll see it this weekend. WIBX News Time 8:06. All right, quickly in sports, the Phillies made quick work of the Arizona Diamondbacks last night. They now hold a 2-0 series lead in the NLCS. The series will return to Phoenix tomorrow, where the Diamondbacks will host Game 3. The final last night was 10-0. The American League Championship Series resumes tonight in Texas at Globe Life Field, with the Rangers ahead 2-0 in the series against the defending world champion Houston Astros. Short-time Met Max Scherzer will be on the mound tonight for the Rangers. Christian McCaffrey of the San Francisco 49ers is not seriously hurt. In fact, he could play Monday night against the Vikings. McCaffrey left their loss against the Browns over the weekend with an oblique and rib issue. Turns out it is not serious, and again, he could be in the lineup when they play on Monday. The Philadelphia Eagles sign a 7-time Pro Bowler, wide receiver Julio Jones, inking a 1-year contract to play with the Eagles. The 34-year-old played for the Bucs last season. Of course, he was a longtime Atlanta Falcon and also made a stop with the Tennessee Titans in between.
All right, anything else?
No.
I'll be conducting a protest later on this afternoon at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds to make it clear we are against migrants being housed at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds.
Okay.
See my point?
No, I don't. It's completely different.
It isn't different. There's no evidence that it's going. There's no evidence that anyone has even hinted that they would utilize Faxton or St. E's to house people from New York City. There's absolutely no evidence whatsoever. You can't just hold an event, a demonstration to prevent something from happening that was never proposed, just out of the whim that you think it might. Think about that. It might happen in that land between Marcy and Rome. That's a lot of land over there on Route 49. You know, they could put up tents. It could create a tent city over there. Let's protest over there. Okay. I mean, there's zero evidence. In fact, all of the work they're doing right now to try to repurpose that facility, everything they're doing is everyone who's talking about it, everyone who's studied is talking about private development and creating a new neighborhood over in that area and not letting it turn into something that would be too commercial or whatever. Zero evidence of migrants being put there.
Can I also just say that not only Jim Zecca has raised this concern, but Tim Julian, his opponent, has raised this concern.
Well, then I disagree with Tim.
On many occasions. Now, they both are looking to represent South Utica.
I understand.
He's a former mayor. I'll see if I can get Tim on it,
That
see why
doesn't
he raised the
change
issue.
anything for me. Because
I didn't say that it did,
It
Bill.
doesn't change. You could put 20 people up that say the same thing. What I'm saying is the only people that are saying it are surmising. There's no evidence of anything. You can't protest something without any evidence at all. I guess you can.
Jim Zecca said it was. He messaged in to say it was not a protest.
I know
it was
it was
press
not
conference.
a protest, Jim. I apologize to you for calling it a protest. I've done that several times. It was a what?
A press conference.
Press conference, or an informational demonstration, or a meeting for informational purposes, whatever it was. And I apologize for calling it a protest. That word just floats right out of my mouth. Improperly. My apologies. Mike Galime is running for mayor as a Republican and wants to respond to his opponent just moments ago. Good morning, Mike. Good morning. Which line is he on? It is line 3. Sorry about that. Hi, Mike. You're on 3. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you doing? I was hoping Celeste was still on, actually, but I take it she's not in the studio any longer?
She is not, no.
Oh, all right. Well, before we talk about the fact that she is claiming that I made an anti-hospital self-made video, which is not true, I'd like to comment on the migrant situation that Jim Zecca keeps talking about. So Tim and Jim have both commented on that. And one, I would not support, having a situation like the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City at St. Elizabeth's Hospital, but I was there when the rumors started, and I can tell you the reason people keep talking about this is in the South Utica meeting, there were constituents at one of the neighborhood association meetings who were suggesting and kept bringing up, asking if we could, as a city, use that as a facility similar to the Roosevelt Hotel to house migrants. So there was validity to the rumor being started. But as you were saying, Bill, there's no evidence that anyone has.
So
you're
saying people brought it up as a place to house migrants.
Yeah,
constituents.
Constituents
That they were
asking for it to happen in one of the South Utica meetings, which
that
is
they
why
wanted it to happen.
It became a situation.
That they wanted it to happen.
Yes.
And again, but there has been the hospital, the county, the city.
Right, that's my point. There's no validity to the. But like I said, but the rumor was started within a context. That's why they keep keeping it alive. No public official has suggested that would happen in this current state.
And my point is, though, it's the part that I agree with Celeste is it is an old political trick that you bring up some boogeyman that doesn't really exist. You float it out there, it gains momentum, and all of a sudden you're the one coming to the rescue to stop the thing that was never going to happen. And that's all I agree with. Okay.
Right,
as for
we're talking about political boogeymen, right? So Celeste is claiming that I made an anti-hospital.
Well, and that has been a rumor that's floating around quite a lot over the course of the last week and a half. She claims there's actually a video out there. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I will reshare proudly the video I made in 2017, in which case I did make a video going corner to corner, outlining the concerns that I was developing input for the seeker input for the hospital. This is before the hospital project was underway. If you remember back in 2016, 2017, there was public hearings and concerns like how the hospital garage would get paid for, where people would park, how the nurses' unions would end up merging, converging, or be supported when the hospital would move forward. I think part of the issue, Bill, is my opponent has literally never taken part in any type of project of that stature and does not understand what went on. And legitimately, I'm stating that because I'm going to share the video later. People can go to my actual Mike for Mayor page. They can see it. And then I want to mention the fact that everything I did throughout that entire situation wasn't anti-hospital. It actually came up going door to door the other day. I saw, one of the proprietors of Schmaltz Mechanical going door to door, and he said something to me that I hadn't even thought about in years. And one of the things we had to deal with was, and I dealt with personally, was no one was communicating with any of the businesses within that district. And my concern was if we were going to build a hospital downtown, I wanted to make sure we could retain those businesses in our city. One of them is Schmaltz Mechanical, okay? And when I saw him, he said, you know what I remember? I remember you putting us all in a room at the Radisson, and whether we wanted to move or we wanted to, dig our heels in or we wanted to work with the hospital, you actually put us in a room, all the businesses, all at once, and communicated with us and gave us all the information to communicate with the lawyers. And he said he would never forget that. That's part of the reason that business is still in this city today. So when my opponent wants to comment on one of the largest projects in this city that is absolutely going to have a great impact on downtown from the perspective of never even participating in anything like that, I would like her to actually, maybe debate me on it if she'd like to.
So, if I could, I do recall this was right about the time. I was which is why I wanted to get you on to clarify it. This was really right about the time when we were hearing from businesses saying, the city, no one has talked to us. We have no idea what's going on. We're told there's going to be they want to buy our property, that this is where it's going to go. I believe there are a lot of business people that were in the dark, and I do think that we may have even construed at the time that you might have been against the hospital project. And
absolutely,
I specifically
you can do that because I had to make a hard decision, Bill, to say, listen, these people need help. I went to the city first as council president. Said, "Are you guys talking to people like Metzler Printing,
right?
The Corrigans, Schmaltz Mechanical, Urbanics?" And the city said, "Yeah, we talked to them." So I went and talked to every business and said, "What do you know? What do you not know?" And they said,
didn't.
"No one is coming."
Well, but my point was, I remember specifically asking you at the time, "Are you against the hospital going downtown?" And I remember your answer very clearly today. Your answer to me was, I am not against it, but I think a lot of questions need to be answered. And I think that was your statement at the time, and I'm assuming that's probably what comes out of the video that is out there. So,
absolutely. And like I said, I'm proud to share it again because I have no regrets in how I handled that situation. We've legitimately retained people within this city because of the work I did, because I recognized that we were forgetting constituents. And I wasn't trying to divide people up. I wasn't trying to create controversy. What I had to do was take such a hard stance on saying this is not going to be popular, but I have to represent the people that are unrepresented right now.
Okay.
And I did it. And here I stand today able to still talk about it because it's perseverance and integrity and just honesty with people that I refuse to let go of.
Okay, fair enough. And I remember it 1,000%. I agree. Okay. All right, Mike, thank you so much.
Have a great day.
This just turned into a heated segment of radio here this morning. Wow. Gina, stand by. I'm going to get right to you. I'm sorry you had to wait. We'll do a quick break and come back. Abraham House has something really big. I don't know if you know what the Abraham House does, but they are indeed very, very special to this community, and we'll talk about that. Rick Lewis, double feature coming up, and there might be a movie they're playing, include a local soundtrack, a local music soundtrack. And Ryan Nobles has, actually, Buck asked me last night, is that his real hair color? I think it is, Buck. But I'll ask the question. Ryan Nobles from NBC, he's been all over the issues that are enormous right now in Washington, including who will be the next Speaker of the House. He's all over that one, and we're going to talk to Ryan coming up in a few minutes at WIBX.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99, Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
Yep, I'm looking at the pages right now.
Thomas's translation company just lost its only 2 Spanish speakers. Without the right replacements, he'll be in problemas.
Yeah, we'll have those ready. Tonight's gonna be a late one.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Rome Mayor Jackie Izzo.
As a business person, I saw Rome stalling, ran on a platform of a new beginning where we needed to concentrate on economic development, housing, jobs. And I think we've delivered on all of those. But not only that, we've done so much more. We've taken care of our infrastructure. We have increased job opportunities throughout the community. We've brought in over $70 million in grant money. Private sector investment is up near $350 million, probably more than at any time, even when Griffiths was built. And so the new beginning really doesn't have an end. That's why we need to continue this great work into the next 4 years. This has been the best experience of my life and the most humbling experience to work for the taxpayers of the city of Rome. And I hope that you will give me that opportunity to continue our work this November with your vote.
On Election Day, vote to re-elect Mayor Jackie Izzo. Let's keep Rome moving forward. Paid for by friends of Jackie Izzo.
Fall is in the air and the season for trucks has arrived at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. If you're ready to conquer the changing weather and want a truck that's like new without breaking the bank, then shop Steed Ponte Chevrolet. Test drive a 2021 Chevrolet Trailblazer Active all-wheel drive with only 13,000 miles or a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado Crew Cab LT 4-wheel drive with only 18,000 miles. These are not just any trucks, they're certified pre-owned by GM, ensuring quality and reliability. Plus, when you choose a certified pre-owned vehicle at Steed Ponte Chevy, you'll receive a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and an additional 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty. Visit us online at SteedPonteChevy.com. Embrace the fall season with a truck from Steed Ponte Chevrolet and find new roads. Steed Ponte Chevrolet, Route 28 in Herkimer. See why it's always easy to do business at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. These trucks won't last long. Offer ends October 31st, 2023.
Hi, this is Rob Hilton of Hilton Estate and Elder Law with important information that you should know regarding your estate planning. Specifically, you should have prepared what is known as the Big Three. Basic estate planning is comprised of the 3 main documents that you need. First is the will, next is the healthcare proxy, and last is the power of attorney. What most people don't know is how important of the 3 the power of attorney really is, because New York State has no simple method for you to act on another's behalf if they become incapacitated. I am often asked, what is probate and why is it needed? Probate is the act of administering the will through the New York State court system. It requires a filing fee and other actions to be taken as well as a petition to be filed. It is time-consuming and can be expensive. It can be avoided by using a living trust. To find out more about strategies to protect your loved ones through proper estate planning, contact us at Hilton Estate and Elder Law. Call for more information and to schedule an in-person meeting to answer your questions.
Hilton, you know the name. They know the law. Hilton Estate and Elder Law.
Hey, I want to tell you about Steed Ponte Mazda, Commercial Drive in Yorkville, creating the ultimate customer experience, and that continues to be their number one goal. That's why they only select the best late-model Mazdas for their Mazda certified pre-owned vehicles and offer them with a 160-point inspection and the balance of the 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. And I'm here to tell you that I had this conversation with Rick when I went over. My lease was up, and I walked out, drove off with it. Actually, I test drove the CX-90 and just never brought it back. That's kind of what happened. Love the vehicle, and what Rick said is here, yours is a vehicle with under 35,000 miles, and it's a CX-9. We're going to clean it up, spruce it up, and make sure everything's in tip-top shape. Do that 160-point inspection, and we're going to put it out on the lot. And somebody could own a beautiful CX-9. Those are the types of pre-owned vehicles they have. with Ricky Z and everybody over at Steep Pawnee Mazda. Looking for a lower price or a lower payment? Let's make your deal, says Rick, on a Mazda-certified pre-owned vehicle from the dealership that's achieved first place nationally in customer satisfaction. Steep Pawnee Mazda, Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
What is that?
Keeler in the morning.
WIBX 950.
I don't know what that was.
And 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
It could have been a waterfalls.
Can we try that again? Is 5 up?
5 is up.
What is that?
I don't know what that is. It sounds like static to me. Yeah, that's static. I'm inside the... Go ahead, hit it again. I'm underneath Niagara Falls right now. Things look pretty good down here. Sorry. All right.
Okay, well...
Good morning, Rick.
Call the engineer and let him know we got another problem.
These things get thrown at you. You create some improv.
Well, I'll tell you a problem that I just had. Unbelievably cool.
All right, don't go anywhere. I'm going to get to you in a second, but I want to take Gina because she's been waiting.
Oh.
Gina Cha-Cha is with the Abraham House, and as I said earlier, they're celebrating the 25th anniversary. There's an event coming up on Friday, November 3rd, I believe. But this place is extremely important for the community. Gina, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Thanks for having me on today.
And you know, I'll remember the old saying, nobody makes Gina wait. But we did, and I apologize for that. Good morning. Let's talk about your event coming up, the 25th anniversary of the Abraham House. First, if you could, let everybody know what you guys do at the Abraham House.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity to talk about what we do because we are the only homes. We have 2 homes now, one in Utica, one in Rome, of this type in 3 counties, Bill, and that is something that's very special for us. We literally provide 24-hour caregiving at no charge for our guests that are going through facing terminal illness, and their families are welcome to use our houses as if it were their home. Nothing like this exists outside of Abraham House in 3 counties, and that's a big deal.
That is a big deal, and it's so important for people as they come to this point of in their lives where the end is near, and you want to do it respectfully and gracefully and in a family setting. It's really something special.
It is. I love when I walk into the houses and I'll see a family that brought in a big dinner and they're sitting in the kitchen together, or I'm greeted in the morning by somebody walking through the house in their socks eating a yogurt, and our families really do embrace the home atmosphere. It makes them, it gives them a gathering place, a place to laugh, a place to grieve, but most importantly, a place where they can all gather together. No restrictions on visitation, no restrictions on how many people are in the house. Just like they would gather in their own home and surround their loved ones, they do that at Abraham House, and it's beautiful.
Nice.
Everybody thinks that what I do is sad, but I don't look at it that way because I think it's a gift that people let us into their lives, and that they're able to celebrate someone's life at the end, instead of really feeling panicked and wondering where they're going to go for care.
That is wonderful. There's no doubt about it. And okay, Friday, November 3rd, you guys will be celebrating your 20, which by the way is amazingly just around the corner, 25th anniversary celebration.
25th anniversary. You know what, Bill? I shared a story recently. Dr. Moore was a longtime benefactor, supporter of Abraham House, a volunteer, and he told me when I first came to Abraham House, in the early days, he had to bring a roll of toilet paper with him to work because we were stretched so thin that we didn't even have paper products in the house.
Wow.
So I'm glad we're not there.
Yep. And it is a very generous community that we live in. There's no doubt about it.
Forgive my ignorance here. Somebody just messaged in, and I guess I had a similar question too. What's the difference between Abraham House and like hospice?
Well,
so we partner with hospice. Hospice is state regulated. Hospice is a medical agency. They're the experts at end of life care in the medical community. So we partner with them. They come into our homes just as if they go into somebody's personal home, and they develop a medical care plan for each of our guests. And they also, assess our guests and give our caregivers direction on how to carry out the medical orders. For their role in the care, they do get the insurance reimbursement. But we do work together, and we've worked together with them since the start, 25 years. And this is amazing. No formal contract. It's a handshake agreement.
Wow.
We do the best we can for each other. We collaborate very well together with hospice.
And I would ask you, why does I think where Jeff is kind of going, and or whoever asked the question, is why does someone choose the Abraham House versus having hospice come into their own home?
Because when hospice comes into the home, it's for a limited amount of time per day. It's a check-in. Maybe they'll be there for 45 minutes or help somebody with a family. But in many cases, we have people that are live-alones or have a history of falls, or maybe there's children in the house and they really don't want to pass there with the children present, or sons and daughters are working and can't provide the 24-hour supervision that's required. So lots of times, those are the reasons that people choose to come to us, and simply caregiver burnout.
Right.
When you're caring for your loved one, you're serving a different role. So it's robbing you of the opportunity to just be their spouse or their son or their daughter. And you have a limited time left that you feel is slipping away, and all you can think about is what time do I have to give them the meds next, and checking for the caregiving role. So we relieve families of that responsibility, and we allow them to be families again, and that's very important.
And for a person's home during this very difficult time, your home is a refuge, right? It's a place where you go for safety. You go for relaxation. You don't have to worry about anything when you're in your own home. And to have that there separated from the family member who's in the process of ultimately passing away, I think some people handle that very well. Other people don't. And you offer that option for those people that need a separation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as a byproduct of that, having multiple families that are walking through the same thing together in one house, it's a huge support system for many people.
Yep. Okay. You don't have to sell us anymore. We're, we don't want to have to go there anytime soon, but knowing it's there is certainly peace of mind. Gina, how do people participate in the third, the 25th anniversary?
Well, I want to talk quickly. I'll go quick. Last year was our last gala. And now here we are, we're having a big celebration. But, I'm not going to invite people to slam beers in their blue jeans for a 25th anniversary. We had to do something big. We have to do something special. We've moved the event. We're going to be at DoubleTree by Hilton, Hotel Utica, which is just a gorgeous property. Friday, November 3rd, 7 to 11. And our entertainment is spectacular for this. We've got Ben Kidwell on the piano, Devin Garamone on the sax, and then 2 shows are going to be running simultaneously in the building, a dueling piano show and also the New York Players, which is a 10-piece party band.
Wow.
So we're really hoping people will come and help us celebrate. They can get tickets by going to our website or through Facebook. And we do have 3 Dignity sponsors that are major sponsors for this event: Mohawk Valley Materials, Tioga Construction Company, and UFCW Local 1. And we have personal relationships with all 3 of those companies because of the service we've provided through the years.
Wow.
Gina,
Nice.
if you change your mind and you want to invite people to wear jeans and slam beers, you've got my number.
Next year. Stay tuned for next year, because these formal events are a lot of work.
Well, just like every year, an anniversary represents something. Like if it's your 25th, it's platinum. If it's your 26th, it's blue jeans. I'm pretty sure.
But it sounds like a great night. Again, it's Friday, November 3rd.
How do people get tickets, Gina?
They can check out our website, theabrahamhouse.org, Facebook, any of our social media, or just call us up.
All right, good deal. And the next time we have you on, we're going to talk about your famous father, okay?
Yeah, next time with our blue jeans and beers.
Okay, I love it. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gina Chacha from the Abraham House. I have that right? Her dad is
yes.
Laurie Spado, Orlando Spado, who is about to have the story of his life put in onto the silver screen. Pretty darn cool. All right, Rick, I'm sorry you had to wait. Nobody makes Rick wait.
Oh, jeez.
Except for us. We have to take a quick break, and we'll come right back because I want to hear what terrible
disaster this morning.
What disaster happened in your life. Devin is on the other side of the glass, and somebody's concern is what? Over in South Utica, back on the issue of St. E's closing down in 11 days now, by the way. What did this person say they didn't want to go on the air?
So they called, and their concern and their neighbor's concern was how they're going to keep people out of that hospital and keep people from trespassing on the property. That was the big concern of them and the neighborhood that they live in over there.
Do you want to do some comments before we break, Jeff? That's a fair question, right?
Yes. Let's see here.
I have a couple that are busting your chops, if you'd like those.
Yeah, go ahead. Give it to me. Joe asks, Jeff, the question I have about St. E's is it not a historical area? Wouldn't that prevent any modernization or redevelopment?
No, they're going to tear it down is what's probably going to end up happening.
But, I think it's a fair question. I don't know the answer, and I'm not assuming, and I don't think this is a boogeyman situation, but, when Stewart's went in, Stewart's had to make certain accommodations to fit the neighborhood. And I think that's the nature of Joe's question.
Mike in Whitesboro, I heard the state is thinking about converting it into a prison. That's so we're going to be over there later today protesting. But I have some guy in the 540 saying, I'm completely with Jeff on this. So it is somewhat balanced.
And again, when you say you're completely with me, the point I made was we don't know what's going to happen there, and I think people have a fear about what's going to happen there, and I don't think it's a boogeyman situation to bring this up.
That would be a great opportunity for a local politician to stand up and say, "There's a rumor out there. This is not going to. There is no talk. There's no evidence of this whatsoever. It is not going to happen. Here's the direction we're going." Versus a person running for public office showing up and holding a, quote, demonstration to make sure it doesn't happen. That, to me, is taking advantage of a
press conference.
It was a press conference. Okay. Call it what you want. I just don't. It's a publicity. That turns it into a publicity stunt. Yeah. That's how I feel. That's all I'm saying. And in Sarah's Flooring Outlet, I'm going to tell you this. If it's flooring, they don't care what you're talking about. They'll put flooring into your house. You could be wanting to talk politics 24/7, and they're just going to plug their ears and put flooring in your house. That's what they do. Flooring. Pergo Extreme, the guarantee. It's a 60-mile guarantee, 60-mile radius of their store. They guarantee the lowest price on Pergo Extreme. It's an awesome product. But all the products, from carpeting to linoleum, tile, hardwood floors, the Pergo Extreme, whatever flooring you're looking for, they have it at Sarah's Flooring Outlet. Ask about 6 months interest-free financing right now at the Route 49 Plaza River Road, Marcy, and online at sarahsflooringoutlet.com.
Fall in love with being home again with a new mattress from Central New York's newest furniture and mattress store, Ashley, in the Marcytown Plaza on River Road in Marcy. Shop our huge selection on display and in stock by Ashley, Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and Tempur-Pedic. Right now, Ashley Hybrid Queen mattresses are just $6 a month or only $2.99. Sealy Posturepedic or Ashley Anniversary Queen mattresses, firm, plush, or pillow top, your choice, just $12 a month or only $5.99. Plus, experience better sleep and save on a luxurious Tempur-Pedic Queen mattress, just $41 a month or $21.99. Plus, get a $300 gift certificate with every Tempur-Pedic set. We have free mattress delivery, and we offer special no-interest financing for every budget with up to 5 years interest-free. Whether it's for the spare room, the kids, or yourself, Ashley has the mattress you need in stock and on sale right now. Save in-store only at Ashley in the Marcytown Plaza on River Road in Marcy. Stop in today.
Oriskany Garage, a locally owned auto repair shop, is consistently selected best auto repair shop in the Utica area year after year. Google search Oriskany Garage to see what our customers are saying. Come and see us for friendly professional service. For all of your auto repair needs, brakes, tires, funny noises, warning lights, come experience friendly professional service at Oriskany Garage down the street from Utica University or online at ogtire.com. Come on and say it with me and make the noise. ogtire.com.
Ready for a smoother and safer ride? Head to Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, your trusted tire experts. At Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, you'll get expert advice from their knowledgeable staff, who know that every vehicle is different. And right now, it's the pre-season tire sale at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Buy any 4 installed Nokian snow or all-weather tires at $100 instant rebate. Get the tires you and your vehicle deserve at the best prices guaranteed. From Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Online at tallmanstire.com.
Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or alternative minimum tax. Did you know that municipal bonds are a way for investors to support civil projects while earning federally tax-free income? The Erie Canal, which led to the expansion of the United States into the Midwest in the 1800s, was financed with municipal bonds. Are you looking to bridge the gap between the income of your working years and the income needed in retirement? Municipal bonds might provide the solution you're looking for. Henyon & Walsh is a leading specialist in tax-free municipal bonds and has provided investors with quality service and personal attention since 1990. Call now to receive their informative bond guide absolutely free. Dial 1-800-761-9761 to learn how to earn retirement income while keeping your taxes at bay. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for a copy of their informative bond guide for free. No cost, no obligation. 1-800-761-9761. Henyon & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
this is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
Hey, if you have severe pain, back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, any pain, there's help. It's the Omni Surgery Center, located in the Utica Business Park and on French Road with Dr. Hyder. Miracle. This is the only thing I can say. Non-invasive injections and less invasive surgeries that help people with their pain. It's where modern technology meets cutting-edge surgery. And we personally have seen it in action, and as I said, nothing short of a miracle. It's the Omni Surgery Center with Dr. Hyder. Call 315-765-8448 if you're in pain. The website, killpain.com. Call 315-765-8448, where modern technology meets cutting-edge surgery.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, Ryan Noble's coming right up from NBC in studio right now. What is your dilemma right now, Rick?
Well, if you make and produce video, film type of stuff, one of the things you have to do to get off your computer is render it. Mm-hmm. Render the footage. For people that don't know, that just means it allows it to be played.
Takes a lot less time to render today than it used to.
But it takes a really long time to turn it into what's called a DCP. It's a digital cinema projection file.
I'll bet.
And that's
how long does that take to render?
Well,
overnight probably.
Well, a lot of if you do a movie, it'll take you like 8 or 9 hours to do. This what I'm doing that showing tomorrow is like 13 minutes. So it only takes maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's black and white.
Right.
So if it was in color, So I loaded it on there. I'm rendering. I go take a shower. I come down to check how the render's going. power is completely off.
Oh, my.
But not the whole room, just the computer and all the
no.
stuff plugged into the computer. So I'm scrambling around, and unbelievable what the problem was.
You didn't have it. You had it too short of a time before it went into nap mode or sleep
No,
mode.
no. Oh, that would be a simple.
Yeah.
It was. This was never happened. Ever happened to me. The backup power supply died.
Oh, my God.
So everything that was plugged in the backup power supply.
Everything.
And I was in the, I don't know how far into a render, and I had to go and get everything. Then, of course, my biggest fear is, I wonder if the file got corrupted because it was in the middle of processing. But I got it in.
All right.
Got out the door in a hurry, and this is the only jacket I could find, the Steelers jacket I'm wearing right now. I flew out the door, grabbed it, came on down.
All right. Can you hang through the next 15 minutes with us? And we'll talk about the double feature that's going to happen.
Find out what you had for breakfast.
I want to bring in, and by the way, you're talking about something that, we deal with all the time. Ryan deals with all the time as well. Sometimes you, especially when you get into these, even in the movie world, with the fastest computers in the world, when they're doing some big high-end graphic that is for a movie, they may be rendering overnight, even at that level of the game.
I've done renders for 3 days.
Yeah.
When back at the turn of the century.
They say to render video that features Lester Holt takes well over 30 minutes. I've been told that. I don't know why that is.
I would just like to know if it's, how often you have to dye your hair to get it to look like
Ryan,
that always.
Paul Buckley, you remember Paul from here? He said, I just watched Ryan. I get a call last night. I just watched Ryan. He did a great report on the whole Speaker of the House situation. Is he dyeing his hair? And I'm like... inquiring minds, they must know.
It is. I don't know how far we need to get into this. I am not dyeing my hair, but my hair has gotten darker over the past 20 years since I was on
like
television
all of
in
us.
Utica.
It usually grows thicker, and the grays become darker. Usually, as we get older, that's always what happens.
My hair was pretty blonde when I was in high school and in college, and right when I started at KTV, but it has gotten darker. But to say that I might do some enhancement to make it look a little thicker than it is, if I told you that was different, I wouldn't be 100% honest. So that might make it look a little better.
Okay, all right. Well, there's the answer. And by the way, personally, I'm struggling with my hair getting lighter and me getting heavier. So I don't know.
I always used to say if my waist was thinning like my crown was, I'd be in really good shape.
All right. So, boy, I got to tell you, it's funny because Brian Kilmeade, one of your across the street colleagues on Fox, got caught with a live mic yesterday, calling one of the Republicans an idiot for voting against Jim Jordan and voting for McCarthy. I would say Republicans made the big mistake, and there will be those hardliners that say, no, this was the right thing to do. The big mistake was getting rid of McCarthy without a plan in the first place, I would think.
Well, I mean, it's crazy to see, and I think the hypocrisy works both ways, how now all these conservatives, Sean Hannity and Donald Trump and the right-wing ecosphere now is all whining about these. And they're not even really moderates. I guess you'd probably call them more establishment Republicans that were really annoyed with the fact that 4% of the conference was dictating who the Speaker of the House was going to be. And so now they're the 4% of the Congress, and they're like, hey, guys, you did this to us, so we're going to do it to you.
Yeah.
And they seem so shocked by that. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is that Jim Jordan did not win an internal nomination to be the Speaker of the House. He lost that contest, and then he strong-armed Steve Scalise and a bunch of the other more establishment Republicans and said, well, we're not going to vote for you on the floor, so you just need to let me become the Speaker. And then using those same exact tactics, and it's not even really an organized group. I mean, when you look at the 20 that voted against Jim Jordan, they all had very different reasons for doing it. It was much more organic than the kind of very planned and very specific effort that was used to undermine Scalise and McCarthy. So, my sense is that Jordan is in a lot of trouble today. I don't get any vibe at all that the 20 that voted for him are going to back down. And we have a real crisis here. I do not know what the next step is because I think it's been proven now 3 times that there isn't a member of the Republican conference that can get 217 votes.
Are we to the point now where we are so partisan and somehow the Democrats, and this is the complaint that Republicans always have, is complaining about themselves, is that we don't stick together as Republicans, but the Democrats always seem to find a way to do it, no matter how divided they might be from moderate to far left. Are we reaching a point where we are so partisan that the party cannot exist? I mean, I know that's probably an extreme, but it almost seems like our party system as we know it today, not just Republicans, but Democrat and Republicans, we can't operate the way we used to because we're so partisan.
Yeah, it seems like every day we're approaching closer to, at least in the Congress, a more European parliamentary style system than what we're accustomed to here in the United States, where the majority party or the controlling party doesn't control a majority of the seats because there just isn't the political factions are too dispirited to coalesce behind one type of movement. And I don't know if that's ever going to formally lead to the breakdown of the Republican or Democratic parties, because this is an issue on the Democratic side too. That
sure it is.
It's not as exposed right now because their unifying effort right now is to just prevent the Republicans from organizing in any way. But I do think we're ending up with these little factions. And the question, I think, Bill, and I don't see this happening in the near future, certainly not in this Congress because the lack of trust is great, is that will there be some sort of crossover within these factions where Democrats and Republicans find opportunities to work together? Because, there probably is. If you remove the far left and you remove the far right, there's a pretty sizable majority of the Congress. I mean, I would venture to say it's in the 250 to 300 range of people that probably agree on like 90% of the things that need to get done. Would agree on some sort of border package, would agree on funding for Ukraine, would agree on funding for Israel. But because those factions on the far left and the far right have such huge influence within the party structure, and that there's such a lack of trust, even with that group that supports each other 90% of the time, that there just isn't a way that they're ever going to work together. So when you hear people say, well, we're going to create some sort of coalition government and 6 Democrats are going to vote for a more establishment Republican, or there's going to be 6 Republicans that break over and vote for Hakeem Jeffries, that's not going to happen. You might, put that far in the back of your mind. But maybe in the next 2 or 3 election cycles, does that become a thing? That's something that, maybe a long-term problem. The short-term problem right now is that there is such an unbelievable lack of trust member to member. It's not just parties. I think individual members don't feel like they can trust the guy sitting next to them. Mm-hmm. And when you're in a situation like that, you are never going to get anything done.
Yeah, it's interesting. Our own Congressman Brandon Williams, who was very loyal to McCarthy, very critical of Gates, and felt that both Scalise and Jordan could serve as Speaker of the House. I believe he voted for, or he was in favor of Scalise, and then
he voted for Scalise, and then he voted for Jordan,
and then voted for Jordan. Yeah.
Well, so Williams is a good example of what he's probably in that. I don't know him that well. He's a freshman, obviously.
Yeah.
But he's in that. That middle faction probably. There's probably most things. He would agree that he wouldn't agree with the government shutdown, right? He wouldn't agree.
Right.
He probably supports funding for Ukraine, that kind of thing. But he is like what most of the party's going to do. Like he went into that conference thinking, okay, we're going to have our debate internally. We're going to pick a guy, and then whoever that guy is, even if it's not my guy, when I get to the floor, I'm going to unite with my fellow Republicans and make that guy Speaker. He's done that now 3 times, right? He did it with McCarthy, did it with Scalise, and now he did it with
Correct.
Trump.
Yes.
But unfortunately, because the margins are so tight, it only takes 5 people to upend that whole process. And so that's the kind of boomerang we find ourselves in. But I wonder, and I think Williams is in this group, Mark Molinaro from the more Hudson Valley region, Mike Lawler, these New York Republicans, the Long Island Republicans and the upstate New York Republicans, the group that, basically won the majority for the Republicans because of how well New York Republicans did in this last election cycle. They're the ones to watch. I was in the chamber yesterday, just to tell you a quick story. I was in the chamber today when they were starting the nominating speeches, And when Elise Stefanik, another one of your members of Congress, got up to give the nominating speech for Jim Jordan, the Republicans gave this kind of tepid standing ovation for him. And Nick LaLota looked at Anthony D'Esposito, two Long Island congressmen, and LaLota looked over at D'Esposito and kind of shrugged his shoulders, and he was like, "Can we stand? I guess so." But I knew then that those two guys were not going to vote for Jordan. And so, why would those two guys flip now? I mean, once you've stuck your neck out on the first ballot, you basically decided that you're never going to be one of Jordan's guys if you become speaker. So, I think if the numbers hold, I think there's even the possibility of an expansion. There may even be the possibility they don't vote on Jim Jordan again today because he knows he doesn't have the vote.
Final question. I've got just a second left. Is there an opening for an Elise Stefanik, possibly?
No. And that's not against her.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's anyone with 217 votes. And Stefanik's interesting. She works kind of the establishment, the leadership end of it. She's not necessarily – she doesn't have a ton of, like, individual member support, right? Not a ton of individual relationships with members. I think right now, and I still think this is a long shot, the most likely scenario is some sort of temporary empowerment of Patrick McHenry as Speaker Pro Tem that would at least allow him to bring legislation to the floor, maybe even over a short-term window, maybe 30 to 60 days, maybe till the end of the year, so that Republicans can figure this out. That's the most likely scenario right now, but even that, I think, is going to be difficult to execute.
All right, we'll be watching, Ryan. Thank you, man. We'll do it again next week. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Good to talk to you. Have a good week.
Have a great week. Ryan Nobles from NBC. All right, can I get to Rick's stuff here? You're giving me a really concerned look of disappointment. Apparently, Rick, I talk too much.
Oh, well, hey, it's talk radio. What are you supposed to do? Without talk, it's just radio.
Apparently, none of us are going to be getting paid next week because... All right. What is your event? And just quickly plug it so
tomorrow,
I can play some commercials.
It's traditionally called live music, silent movie. But this year it's pre-recorded music. And I'll just tell you one thing of the feature of it, of the short film, which is a short adaptation of the movie Metropolis. I don't know if you've ever seen it, from 1928 movie.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the original movie. Totally changed the story. But the organist, the theater organist, David Peckham, had the actual music from 1928, and he played it on the Capitol organ and recorded it.
Wow.
And to me, that's the highlight of the whole thing. You're just watching it, all of a sudden
cool.
going, wow, this is... And he had to adapt it because in the old movies, you have a scene, the guy's walking, and then you have, oh, no, this is like cut, modern style. So he said, I had to readjust the parts to go quickly from one transition to another. But his part, that to me, that's a standout.
That's so cool. Tickets, all that.
It's $10 at the door at 7 o'clock, and tomorrow night, and the main feature is Ex Machina, which is a movie about an AI, the first AI robot. It was film came out in 2015.
Okay.
Very good.
Very cool. All right, Rick, thank you, man. Gotta go. Back tomorrow. Enjoy your day.
The Wynn Hospital. Unwavering commitment and compassion. State-of-the-art technology and techniques. Advanced expertise and innovation. Consistent safety and quality. And it all will be exactly where you need it, because this fall, the brand new state-of-the-art Wynn Hospital will open in downtown Utica. Soon, you will be able to experience local care on a whole new level. The Wynn Hospital, world-class care is right around the corner. Learn more at mvhealthsystem.org. This is for you. At MVHS, our team members fell in love with care long ago. Their lives were changed, and their world has been expanding ever since. In respect, compassion, knowledge, and ability. And it's only just begun. Because fueling the future of care starts here at the Wynn Hospital. The Wynn Hospital, opening in October 2023. Learn more at mvhealthsystem.org. This is for you.
Hi, I'm Mike Galime. When elected mayor, backed by 8 years of direct action with the people as council president and decades of professional experience, I will establish a new roadmap for our city based on the needs and concerns garnered from your doorsteps. Standing alongside you as a fellow citizen, I will lead as a trustee of our tax dollars with a keen attention to detail, committed to setting policies that will improve the delivery of all city services, holding our government accountable. On November 7th, make the right choice for Utica. Vote Mike Galime for mayor.
Paid for by Mike for mayor.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You may be entitled to a significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune. Call now or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-214-8822. That's 800-214-8822. 800-214-8822.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
Bring smiles to all when shopping online with Dell Technologies Gift Guide. Whether it's for the artist, the entrepreneur, the student, or the streamer, you'll find the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Dell.com/gift guide makes gifting easy with a carefully curated selection of our best tech. Shop now to explore our innovative PCs like the XPS 13 laptop, powered by the latest Intel Core processors, plus this season's top accessories. Visit Dell.com/gift guide today to get a jump on your holiday gift list. That's Dell.com/gift guide.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
Hi, this is Scott Hayes.
And this is Jill Hayes from New York Sash.
Honey, there's a lot of folks out there right now that could use a makeover.
What? Honey, you can't say that. You shouldn't say that.
No, not a personal makeover, honey. Their bathroom.